In Baseball League as we kick off week 9. The Auckland Tuatara leading the Northeast Division to, I guess, the surprise of many on pre-season form. Up against the Canberra Cavalry, who are in second place and looking to close that gap. Paul, welcome back to Canberra. It's been a while. It's been far too long, in fact, my friend.
Thank you, Chris. It's sensational. I feel great just returning to the fortress that is Narrabundah Ballpark, the MIT Ballpark here, home of the Canberra Cavalry, and making a return here after being a part of the original ground when it first opened. It was sensational, and it was our pleasure way back then. That would be 9 or 10 years ago when we made our first entry here into the fortress, and waiting for that all to happen.
Well, we'll pause for the national anthems and then come back with details of tonight's game.
Please remain upstanding for the playing of the national anthem.
Always love it when we have the international sides in the Australian Baseball League and we get the multiple anthems prior to the start. Really adds something to the ABL. And the Tuatara, aren't they doing wonderfully well? 19 and 13, sitting on top of the lead, on top of the division rather, in the northeast. The Canberra Cavalry, 14 and a half wins, 17 and a half losses. So they need to win, well, quite a few to overhaul the Tuatara. They'll need a sweep this weekend and still need a little bit of luck next week, Paul.
That would be absolutely sensational if they could do it. The Tuatara turn out to be a tough mob this season.
Haven't they just? Let's have a look at who's going to be out there. Firstly, through the batting lineup for the Tuatara, Yoni Hernandez leading off. Johnny Homza comes in second. Then Jared Walker batting 3. Kim in 4. Blackstone at 5. Andrew Mark, the DH, at 6. Josh McAdams batting 7. Bo Bishop and then Max Brown will be the number 9 batter. And let me tell you, there are some interesting numbers in those batting averages that we'll go through during the course of the evening. But let's have a look at who the Cavalry are putting out there in defence, Paul.
The defensive lineup for the Cavs: in right field, it's Tucker Nathans. The centre field is Robbie Podolski. In left field, it's Chucky Robinson. The third baseman for the Cavs, Kyle Perkins. The shortstop for the Cavalry, Kelvin Melian. At second base, Cam Warner. The first baseman is Zach Wilson, and the starting battery for the Cavalry tonight. Behind the plate, Robbie Perkins, and on the hill, JJ Hoover.
Going to be an exciting night, and we are not far away from getting started. We are, as you probably noticed, a wee bit late getting underway tonight. That is because about 2 hours ago, there were people building an arc down the first base line. It was absolutely hammering down. I can safely say rain the likes of which we haven't seen in Canberra for a good 18 months. It was the heaviest rain we've had in town for quite some time. We need plenty more of it, but it's amazing that this ground is in such good condition to play, because it hasn't rained for so long. We weren't sure how quickly it was going to drain, but we are set for the first pitch of JJ Hoover up against Yoni Hernandez. Hernandez average of 2.24 takes the first pitch, and that is strike one. Hoover right on the money with the first pitch.
Chris, I can also give you an update. The other game that matters in the North East Division, of course, Sydney and Brisbane. They're presently 1-1 in the second inning.
There we go. Of course, the equation as we see the next pitch from Hoover to Hernandez, but the equation for Canberra is quite simple. Match what Brisbane do and only have a one-game buffer over the Sydney Blue Sox. Fly ball to left of centre field. Podorski, one of the new Cavalry players, comes across, takes the catch quite comfortably, and it's one down for the Tuatara. Canberra need a good start here against Auckland. They've done better when they've had a good start this season, Paul, the Cavalry. They have had a little bit of trouble when trying to make things up later in the games.
Yeah, they don't need to be playing catch-up baseball whatsoever this whole four-game series, Chris, I can tell you now. Podorski looking good in centre field. That was easy for him. He got across there very quickly with Chucky Robinson backing him up, and of course called Robinson off. No problem there. He could have sat down and made a cup of tea waiting for that one. Absolutely.
So we see coming in now Johnny Homser. This man, he's been developing quite a following amongst the New Zealand baseball fraternity. Hoover pitches to him high and inside, ball one. And comes in with an average just a tick under 300. Some serious numbers in this batting lineup. Arrow, we've got Homser average 297, Walker 351, Mark 360. And Hoover goes just a little low. So gets behind in the count here, 0-2.
And the top three here, no doubt whatsoever, as you just mentioned, Chris. I had the advantage of seeing them last week in Sydney, and the Auckland Tuatara through the whole four-game series. They were just strong.
And now, oh, there we go, strike the call for Homser. So Hoover pulls one back. Of course, these sides earlier in the season met across the ditch, was lucky enough to get over and catch that series in Auckland. Very different story there as Hoover goes for the off-speed stuff. And did you see that just fall off the cliff at the end? It sits up, and then it just drops so late. That is a classy curveball. And now he finds himself with a 2-2 count, Homser. What's he got? He's got the fly ball to right field. This is Tucker Nathan's underneath it. He's got a good beat on it. Visibility good here tonight, takes it comfortably, fly 9, and that's 2 down for the Tuatara.
Again, hard hit ball out to the right side there. Nathan's underneath it quite easily, but he was back near the edge of the warning track. So that's Tuatara just showing their wares, but popping it up.
Slightly different equation, this ballpark, from what they play on at home. And also they are on it's their only back-to-back away series this season, unlike last year, where they played 6 weeks in a row on the road.
Yeah, whereas this is it. 2 back-to-back series away from town, 10 days or so.
In comes Jared Walker. Fairly handy set of numbers for him. Batting average of 351. Takes the first from Hoover. He goes for the off-speed, but doesn't quite get it where he wants it. 1-0 is the count. Apologies if you're getting a buzz in the background there. We're trying to isolate that on our... I think it's coming in courtesy of our effects mic, so we will see if we can rectify that. It may be a battery change required. We'll get to that during an inning break. But 2-0 the count on Jared Walker now.
Of course, Tuatara lost one of their big hitters, Josh Morgan, last week, returning this week to his duties in the States.
Happens to every team. I had a quick chat with Steve Mintz, the Auckland Tuatara manager, prior to the game, and he said, well, we've got to deal with guys going home. And then he said very quickly, as do most of the other teams. So he knows that it's part of the equation. We'll see this one hit Rolls along the ground. Warner picks it up, pops it across to Wilson. The 4-3 play is done. 3 up, 3 down. Hoover's done that a lot this season. And no score after half an inning at MIT Ballpark as we flip the book over and have a look and see what's coming up by way of Canberra Cavalry batters. And Robbie Podolski will be leading off. Now it's a small sample size, but a batting average of 300.
Yes.
Only the one series for him so far. He'll be followed by Cam Warner. So Warner, I'm going to have to check this, but I reckon Warner's now batted in 4 or 5 positions across the course of this season. Has largely been batting down the bottom end, but tonight in the 2 spot. To be followed then by Tucker Nathans, Zach Wilson, David Candelas, Chucky Robinson, Robbie Perkins, Kyle Perkins, and then Kelvin Melian to round things out. And the Cavalry, even though at one stage in this season were sitting last in the complete standings across all 8 teams in the league, at that stage they still had the highest batting average in the league. I still can't work that out.
That's what I was just looking at. The batting figures for them. There's so many batters in the Cavalry lineup above 300.
Well, what have we got tonight? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above 300, and Tucker Nathan's 299. So as good as, if you rounded it off to 2 numbers, it'd be there as well. But yeah, the problem with the Cavalry was early in the season there weren't a lot of hits coming in groups. Harrow. But let's have a look at the defence for the Auckland Tuatara.
Needham back to back. Tuatara come to the field this way. Josh McAdams in right field. Centre field is downtown Max Brown. Left field Won Seok Kim. Had a great game last week in Sydney. Johnny Homza at third base. Yoni Hernandez, very flash shortstop for the Tuatara. Second baseman Kent Blackstone, I should say. A first baseman Jared Walker, and the starting battery for Auckland, Bo Bishop behind the plate, and Kyohei Marinuka on the mound. You see him going through his warm up there. Muranaka, we'll call him, I think.
We'll get there.
Only because that's his name.
Well, yes, that generally works out the best. These are things we have discovered over time. So, yeah, as we mentioned in passing, yeah, it really did rain like nothing else here. But a great tribute to the ground staff, and also a big thank you to the ACT government for the work they've done at this ground. And the drainage here, second to none. Not just in terms of sporting fields in the ABL, but I think sporting fields in Canberra. I've watched a lot of local sports at a lot of local grounds, and I can tell you, outside of probably GIO Stadium and Manuka Oval, there'd be nowhere else that drains as well as this place does.
And the whole facility, Chris, it's since the last time I visited here, it's just sensational. Spectators that come here just get treated. They've got a great view of everything on the ground, and the facilities around that, food, drinks, all the outlets, really good. The batting cages for the players, the indoor cages.
How good are they now?
There. Wow. They've been in their batting practice while the Storms went through. And the only 2 games that matter over the whole league this weekend, this one here in Canberra, the other one in Brisbane, both have been rain affected. Both had massive storms go through. It's like these 2 clubs are neck and neck.
They are indeed, as we see Robbie Podolski, another right-hander in the Cavalry batting box. Takes the first pitch from Muranaka, has a big hack at it, doesn't connect. Got to say, I've got a soft spot for Podolski. It's the first time I've seen him in the flesh. I'm told he is super quick around the base parts. In with us at the Cavalry from the San Diego Padres organisation, and I'm told, if not the fastest, one of the fastest runners around the base parts in their organisation. So
well, let's hope he gets on.
We saw him with the fielding out there earlier. Had no problem chasing down the fly ball, as we see. Oh, gee, that couldn't have missed by much for Muranaka. 1-1 now the count for Podolski. Give you the umpires' names in just a moment, because we had to factor in the anthems earlier, which took a little bit longer than it usually does, with there being 2 anthems. Low and away from Muranaka for Podolski. So the man behind the dish tonight is Riley Barrington. Connor Casey at first base, and the third base umpire, very proud man tonight, I suspect, on Indigenous night here at the ballpark. As Podolski moves up and out of the way of that from Muranaka and gets himself to a 3-1 count. The third base umpire, Josh Matavesi.
Excellent.
Man like myself of Indigenous descent, and great to have him on the umpiring panel here. He was talking about popping an Indigenous flag on his umpire's shirt for tonight.
Just nicely embossed on the shoulder would be great, wouldn't it?
Just not sure if he managed to do that. I can't see it on him, but we'll have a sticky beak at our third base umpire a wee bit later on and see whether he actually managed to sneak that one past the officials or the other officials to get it on there. Full count on the batter. Let's see what Robbie Podolski has, and let's see what Kyohei Miranaka has. Podolski swings at one that he probably could have left alone, climbs the ladder and strikes out. Our first K goes in the book for the night, and it is for Robbie Podolski.
He took a few pitches out of Miranaka there, and that's the way to do it as well. Build these pitch counts to see if they can get this turnover of pitching on the Auckland mound.
So Cam Warner comes in. We replace one batter with an average of 300 with another with a batting average of 316. Handy kind of number all the way around. Handy kind of number. He really has had a career year. Early in the season, his average was above 400. I think it dipped below 300 for a little while, but he's shown his class by putting it further back up the tree. There we go. I've worked out what the buzz was.
Stop that buzz.
I bet I can turn it back on again. Yep, I know exactly what it was. That's what happens when you put two power supplies next to each other that shouldn't be next to each other.
I think it's called electromagnetic induction.
Oh, jeez. Where'd you go to school? Someone's better than me. You went to school, I went to reform school.
It's a long, long time ago.
Warner with the 2-0 count. And gets a 3-0 count. So Miranaka really not having the best start to the game. That for mine is 9 pitches. He gets 2 on 1 the count now. So that's 10 pitches, 4 strikes. It just stays fair and then kicks away to the right. Warner will turn this into a double, will he? No, very quick across the ground was McAdams. But an easy single, and Cam Warner gets himself on base yet again. Gee, he's having a great year.
And Warner having a lot of respect for the arm of Josh McAdams out there in right field. He's very quick around the diamond. He even took his place on the mound a week ago as well as a relief pitcher for one innings as well.
So he's got an arm.
He can certainly throw. So very cautious Cam Warner. Smart move there. Single to 9.
What I'm going to suggest about the Cavalry is I reckon they've learned from their 4 games against the Tuatara over there in NZ earlier this year. I don't know whether there was quite the respect for this Tuatara side when they went over there as there is now. And this will be an easy single for Tucker Nathans off the first pitch that he faces. And now we've got runners at first and second for the Canberra Cavalry. Tucker Nathans not mucking around at all.
Nathans just slapped at that one. Opposite field, split the 5-6 hole brilliantly. And nobody would have ever got anywhere near that. Johnny Homser at third base is a very strong third baseman. He's even wide off the line. But that slap to opposite field by Nathans just perfectly positioned. And it turned around the third baseman to get out there into left field for Wonsook Kim.
Good positioning for the Cavs now. Runners at first and second, just 1 out. And a very handy Zach Wilson comes in. We talk about numbers. Nathans will have taken his average back up above 300. And this man leading the batting averages for the Canberra Cavalry at the moment, a mere 356.
He's struggling. Not.
27 games, 37 hits, 61 total bases and 6 bombs.
He's certainly the man you want in clean-up.
He's in the perfect spot for it.
Cavalry on the attack again. That's what we expect. Bottom of the first inning.
One, this is hard hit. Could be a double play. No, gets under the glove of one. Gets under the glove of Walker. Blackstone picks it up.
Play at the plate.
Here comes the runner, and he's got in underneath, has he?
Ice.
It is an out at the plate.
Unfortunately, Cam Warner goes down with that run, putting pressure on the Tuatara, but to no avail. They get the second out there. Cam Warner thrown out. I think that was
Blackstone with the dive.
Was 4-2. Good cut off by Blackstone. I didn't think he was going to glove it at one stage. I thought it was going to avoid him as well.
It had got under the outstretched glove of Walker, who'd run across from first. Blackstone dived, and I think that's the most impressive part of it, Harrow, that he didn't, not just that he dived, got it, got up, put the throw in. Throw was a little bit high to Bishop at home plate, but Bishop had time. He was good situational awareness. He knew Warner was coming.
Still made the play.
Still made the play. Great stuff from the Tuatara. And it brings in David Candelas.
Two out, 2 on for the Cavs.
You hear about the vintage Yankees sides and Murderers Row. You know, in comes David Candelas now, average of 321.
Yeah.
These numbers are ridiculous. They really are.
That's the Candyman for you. DH, fake to throw back. No fielders interested. Kent Blackstone at second base. Didn't make a move. He's just getting Tucker Nathan's attention. That's all that Muranaka was doing.
David Candelas takes the next one. It's away. Tell you, in the history of the ABL, there'd be... You think about guys and the eyes they've got for the ball when they're in the batter's box. And I reckon across the first 10 years of this league, this guy's just about the best at picking the ball from the strike.
He can produce.
Oh, he gets plenty of hits as well, but yeah.
If he produces now, would be perfect.
Left field right down the left field line, right field right down the right field line. There's a lot of space between the centre fielder and the two outside men. There's a lot of space there.
Probably a little bit of slippery grass out there too. When the ball hits, it will skid and hopefully stay down.
I think that's probably a tribute, I think, to the fact that Candy, well, he'll hit him anywhere. He'll hit him to left field, he'll hit him to centre, he'll hit him to right, he'll just hit him long. He's got a 3-0 count, so he's got the batter's count, takes the pitch, 3-1.
Chris, he just hits them in the zone wherever the pitch is. He doesn't wait for the one that he wants here or there or anywhere else. If he likes it, he takes it. He doesn't care if it's inside, outside, or in the middle. He likes what he can hit.
The 3-0, 2 out, 1 on. You can't really blame him for taking the pitch. What does he do on the 3-1? Drills it, gets it past the outstretched glove of Blackstone. This will be an RBI. Runner is coming. Runner goes to third, throws a bit wide, and this might be 2 now. The throw's gone over. No, he's held there at third base.
Yeah, no good risking that one. There's Candelas driving in the first run of the game. Tucker Nathans crosses the plate, scores on the turn. Zach Wilson turns to third base and stands up sliding on what was a very wild throw. And Candelas, of course, will be safely standing at first base. Sorry, second. He's gone around there for a double. Candyman double to the right side. So Cavs on the attack. 2 runners in scoring position. 1 run across the plate. Bottom of the first innings. That brings to the plate Chucky Robinson.
Chucky Robinson. It's become somewhat of a tradition, I think, in Canberra that we have catchers, and then when the catchers go and play in games where they're not catching, if they're not the DH, we put them out in left field. And Cole Perkins has made that really his own territory of late. Robbie Perkins has played a couple of games in left field recently, and now Chucky's doing the same thing. 227, his numbers for the night.
Just a rotation, and these are the guys that love being in the game. They don't really care what position they play. They love being in the game of baseball.
I just want to play some baseball. So Robinson with a 1-run lead, 2 men on, double play. Well, no, it doesn't matter because it's 2 out. That's in the dirt almost. That was good work by Bishop. Tell you, I'm really impressed with him as a catcher. And I know he did some good stuff for the Adelaide side a few years ago. Now seeing him proudly representing the Tuatara.
Yeah, and his
Kiwi heritage.
Works well. He's another one of those characters in the game. There's a lot of them, and the game loves these sorts of characters. He's got the dreadlocks going under the helmet there.
1-1 count for Chucky Robinson. Speaking of characters in the game.
Quick answer.
When was the last time you saw a player bat with no gloves?
Doesn't happen much. He's obviously got a strong grip, Chucky.
I don't know, and I've been keeping an eye out for it. I don't think there's another player in the league, certainly not in the games I've seen this year, who doesn't wear batting gloves.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll all end up in their back pocket once they get on base or in the coach's hands. I don't think I've ever called a game with a player called Chucky.
One and two, so he's got to go if it's close. Wilson gives himself a good lead, and that's lined straight to Blackstone. Gee, Blackstone's been busy, hasn't he?
He's had a big night out already.
Right,
he's had his work cut. He's been diving, he's been leaping, he's been on the wet grass, he's been everywhere.
Right in the thick of things, but he gets himself the catch. But the Canberra Cavalry, they get first blood here on this Thursday night Australian Baseball League game. It is Canberra 1, Auckland nothing. We've got 1 in the books here at MIT Ballpark.
Behind these doors, people are home. Resting, settling in, laughing. These are more than just hotel rooms. They are spaces for living. It's a home away from home, your own abode.
Ballpark in Canberra. The home side leading by 1-0 as the Australian Baseball League starts off week number 9. And for the visitors from across the ditch, it's Won Sok Kim. I'm going to go from memory. He was the first man to pop a ball onto the top of the Teal Monster over there at Auckland. He did it against Canberra earlier this season.
Oh, he didn't need to do it against Canberra at all. Didn't need to, but he did. He had no mercy whatsoever. And his nickname is Kiwi Kim. He's been adopted by the New Zealanders over there, and they don't use his first name at all. They just call him Kiwi.
He's just Kiwi. There we go. There's a 1-1 count here, courtesy of JJ Hoover's pitching.
Gets the pleasure of batting in the 4 slot, cleaning up tonight with nobody on now.
Hard hit, bounces a couple of times, picked up by Kyle Perkins. Throw down a little bit, Wilson has it covered, the 5-3 play.
Yeah, great regulation ground ball. Perkins, a campaigner up there, and no problem whatsoever. That's just a regulation ground ball to position 5 and a good throw across the diamond to Zach Wilson. No problem whatsoever for the Cavs defending that one. And that brings second baseman Kent Blackstone to the plate for Auckland.
Blackstone average 222. Low and inside from Hoover for ball 1. Hard hit into foul territory.
We were wondering early on how long the storm was going to last that came through this place earlier. Went straight through Canberra and the whole of the ACT, in fact. And hopefully with a little bit of God's blessing, dousing a lot of the ash in the air and helping douse some of those fires that have been rampant locally in the area.
1-1 now for Blackstone. Hoover going for the off-speed again. It is one of the best off-speed pitches in the league this season. Now 2-2. And another foul ball. So the 2-2 count. Nobody went and retrieved that. Zach Wilson had to go for a very long walk. Finally gets there.
Nobody else was concerned whatsoever.
Never the first baseman's job to do that. Flying towards left field and flares away. Goes back off into foul territory. 2-2 is the count. It was never my job when I played first base. By the time I played first base, I was one of the senior players in my side, and I said, no, that's why I play first base. Someone else can go and get those.
You've got a job already. You're busy.
Exactly.
481 ERA for JJ Hoover at the moment, pitching just rolling it over extremely well. Leading the field come into the game.
So he's got the full count on the batter now on Blackstone. Fly ball. Nathans is checking this. I think he's got it covered. Does indeed. Well backed up by Podolski, but that's 5 up, 5 down. 3 of them on fly outs that have fallen maybe 10 feet short of the fence.
Yeah, the viewers would have seen Tucker Nathans just make a few little adjustments there as that ball was swirling around in this quite a breeze up there, up high, but down at ground level it's not so bad. So the ball's swirling around, and he just has to be on his toes, keeping his feet steady and well positioned under that ball was Tucker Nathans. He's got there early. You get to the ball 100%, then settle underneath it, and that's exactly what he did.
Now here's the man who is and has been repeatedly the most dangerous man in the Tuatara lineup this season. Doesn't muck around. Will it get to the fielder? It does. That's good work from Podolski. Told you he had some wheels out there, and he moves around and takes care of Andrew Mark on the fly ball to right centre.
I'll tell you what, Andrew Mark lashed out at that one fiercely, and Podolski, as you said, he read it off the bat, got there, and he had a little stretch at the end, but wasn't much of a stretch at all. He just took it in his stride, as they say. And again, Auckland go 3 up, 3 down.
Halfway through the second, it's 1-0 to the home side. Thursday night, Australian Baseball League action in Canberra.
Hurry up with that thing.
Have you tried the grey cake?
Yeah, I've tried it all. Okay.
So who are you backing in this game?
With their three-point shooting.
Guys, relax. I got this.
Don't want to miss a second of the action this season? With Tab's Basketball Live Vision, you can stream games and access exclusive previews for free, anytime, anywhere.
Whoa, don't splash the box.
Yeah, don't splash the box.
Who are you backing this NBA season? Tab. Download the app today.
And welcome back to MIT Ballpark. The Cavs taking on Auckland Tuatara, and halfway through the second inning, Cavs leading 1-0. And they will come to the plate with Robbie Perkins for his first appearance of the series.
Having a great year is Robbie Perkins. We might dig up his career numbers when he comes next up to bat. Comes in tonight with a batting average of 320. And I'm going to take a stab. I reckon his career high is, I think 318 is his career high for a season.
He's going to be up there, that's for sure.
And look, I'm going from memory, but we will have a look at it. But he's certainly having a career year. He's cleared the fences. Well, not a renowned home run hitter at ABL level. I know in the local league, quite a few years back, he put one out of a ground, not just out of a ground, but out of the ground, over the trees, over the road, and onto the roof of a building across the street.
And then some.
I'll take you. I'm giving you a ride home after the game. Then I'll divert.
Righto.
And
We'll
I'll show you where this legendary home run. I didn't see it. I've only been told about it.
Wow.
And I hope I'm giving it to the right Perkins brother, because if it was Kyle who did it, I'm a dead man.
Yes.
But I'll show you where it was, because
I'll back you on that.
It's a big one. But what does Robbie Perkins have in store today?
Batting 7, got good eyes on there. Not interested in that one. That was way wide from Muranaka.
Patience. It's an underrated part of baseball.
It's important to wait. The decisions you've got to make as a batter when you're at the plate, from when that pitch leaves the hands of the thrower to the catcher, or the starting edge of the strike zone, more like it, and the shape that some balls take.
Perkins ahead in the count, 2-0. Muranaka tries to work the upper inside corner, tries to cramp Perkins for a little bit of room perhaps. Doesn't quite get there, and now it's 3-0. So Robbie could swing away here if he wanted to. It's really the free pitch when you get the 3-0. If you're feeling particularly patient, you don't swing at it. If it's on the inside like that, you get the walk and you get on base, and that's all that matters in the end.
Yeah, 4 straight balls for Robbie Perkins, and jogs up the line comfortably. And now the issue for Tuatara is how do they stop him? Right behind him, batting in the 8th slot, Kyle Perkins.
Yeah, if it's not one Perkins pasting, it's the other one. And Robbie Perkins, his 7th walk for the season, and I've dug it out. 331, there we go, was his highest average. That was back in 2016.
Wow.
And he's on target to surpass that this year.
What a great career batting average.
Career average 259, but throw in a couple of years in very early in his career at 203 and 183. Last 4 seasons, including this year, 331, 288, 223, 320. Nice numbers.
Let's see what Kyle can do. Can he move him around? That's the important task here.
That'll be a foul ball. Third base side. Kyle Perkins has hit plenty of home runs, and indeed the all-time leader for the Canberra Cavalry in terms of home runs this year. 6 of them.
Yep, that'll work tonight.
Yeah. 15 hits, 6 of them bombs.
Wow, I'll take that any day.
Yeah. He and Zach Wilson, 6 home runs apiece, and Tucker Nathan's 5. And bear in mind, Nathan's didn't play the first series.
Funny thing, his average doesn't look that great at the moment, but you look at the figures. But if you look at what he's done, RBIs, very important stat. One of the most important stats in baseball, 16.
Yeah, second highest in the club for the season.
Sensational.
Mind you, when you're putting the ball over the fence, it's fairly easy to bring up the RBIs because you get one for yourself.
And all the others.
And plus in everyone else who's out there. 1 and 2 is the count. That's away. Goes to 2 and 2. Getting just the tail end of what I reckon was probably a pretty nice sunset to our west behind us. Just seeing a little bit of pinkish tinge to some of the clouds here. Aranaka taking his time. Umpire Riley Barrington grants time. Reminds us all it's 2 and 2. And now we go to a full count.
So pressure on Tuatara here early in the game. We're only in the bottom of the second. Runner at first, nobody out. Kyle on a full count.
Hard hit. Will it get through the middle? It will.
Wow.
Hernandez tried to get there, went to ground. I think his knee may have plugged just a little on a soft spot in the edge of the dirt.
Yeah, well, he certainly picked up a load of dirt on that left knee. Chris, good pick up there, but just missed it by less than a foot, I would say. It just got past the end of his glove. But to the advantage of the Cavs. Robbie Perkins in scoring position at second, standing up, and Kyle gets through there on that single to 8. Position 8, centre field.
Kelvin Melian, his second stint with the Canberra Cavalry, was here last season, played about half the season, 16 games all up. Average last year of 203. Comes in, this is just his 4th appearance for the Cavalry this year. Rejoining the side. Average of 111, but that's 3 hits. Sorry, 1 hit from 9 at-bats.
Batting in the 9 slot. It's sort of a second lead-off position. Once you get down to the bottom of the order, he's got to get us back to the top again.
Oh and 1 becomes 0 and 2. Played a lot of A-League ball. Short season, advanced A, full season A. Career batting average in the minors with 255 from 284 games. And he won't be adding to his average on that occasion with the strikeout.
Unusual, dropped and he walked anyway. So that's the first out here. Kelvin Melian. And we go back to the top of the order now for his second appearance. Robbie Podolski, centre fielder for the Cavs. We're in the bottom of the second. He's already going up for his second appearance.
Yeah, Melian really had nowhere to go on that drop third strike with runners at first and second. Wasn't much else he could do, just stand there and be resigned about it all. What's Podolski take? First pitch, it's high and away. 1-0. Tell you, Bishop was up and moving, wasn't he?
Well, he's agile and lucky he does, because it's a long way to the back net here. And the count didn't matter anyway, but he had to do a lot of work to get that one.
1-0. Muranaka has a look at the runner at first and then turns his attention back to the batter's box, but goes on the inside, 2-0. So really seems to be struggling a wee bit at the moment, does Muranaka?
Yeah, he got Podolski swinging in his first time up, but it doesn't look like happening this time.
I wouldn't be surprised if the word's gone to the Cavalry batters to just be patient, take your time. Hard hit chopper. Will be a double play to second and on to first.
That shuts them down.
Oh, that was quick.
Certainly was. They get the double play there turned on. Podolski becomes the third out, shuts it down. Kyle Perkins, they left Robbie go, but they got that all-important third out there. So putting 4 up, no runs added to the scoreboard, Chris.
No, it's still 1-0. And we've got 2 innings in the books here. Thursday night at MIT Ballpark.
Behind these doors, people are home. Resting, settling in, laughing. These are more than just hotel rooms. They are spaces for living. It's a home away from home, your own abode.
It's the festive holiday season. Make sure your car is ready to go the distance this summer. Give us a call to book in your pre-holiday safety inspection on 1300 727 320 at MIT Automotive in Fyshwick.
Third inning about to get underway at MIT Ballpark, and our apologies for the sound issues. We seem to have sorted them out, so thanks very much for your patience on those as we work our way through this Thursday night. We're a little bit out of practice here. We haven't had baseball for a few weeks here in Canberra. It's about a month since we've had baseball here due to games being called off with the smoke, as the number 7 for the Tuatara, Josh McAdams. Number 7 batter, we're in the 12, average of 216, comes in, swings at the first pitch from Hoover, and is already 0-1. We talked about the Cavs showing patience in the batter's box. Auckland haven't really done that yet, Paul.
They're just aggressive at this stage. They're going after things and not being too selective whatsoever. McAdams, the right field, he's got a set of wheels, so if he does get on base, they have to be wary, but they've got to stop him getting on base to start with on a 1-1 pitch.
Should have him covered. That's Warner coming in underneath. That takes it about 5 yards out onto the turf. And now that's 7 in a row that have been sat down.
Certainly is. Fly ball to position 4 was Cam Warner, taking that one out of the sky quite comfortably. But a lot of backup around him as well. Everybody in the Cavs field moved when that ball popped up.
Quick check of scores around the grounds. In Geelong, Perth are leading the Geelong Korea side 3-0. Perth keeping themselves in with a shot at taking first place in the Southwest Division. The other scores in a moment as Bo Bishop comes in to face Hoover. And Hoover, fast ball, straight down the pipe, 0-1. Next up, it's the Adelaide Giants and the Melbourne Aces. And again, a lot at stake in that one. Melbourne and Adelaide currently 2 apiece. Hard hit ball. That'll get through the gap. Picked up off the carpet by Podolski in centre field, but it's the Kiwis finally getting a runner on base, and that is Bo Bishop with the single to centre field.
Yeah, batter number 8 driving that one through, went straight back past Hoover on the mound, and he wasn't going to touch it, nor should he. Best to just stay clear. It got out there as well, hit ball, sets up a double play now with Max Brown coming to the plate.
And the other game that's in progress, and this one of major interest here in the North East Division for the Australian Baseball League, the Sydney Blue Sox 1, Brisbane Bandits 3. That game in the bottom of the 4th. And they're playing that one at a fairly decent rate because there's plenty of rain around up there in Brisbane.
Yeah, they're looking to get that well out of the way. And, of course, Canberra hoping, of course, that Sydney will defeat the Bandits over the series. But Bandits are not going to let go of that one at 8-1. Big bottom of the 4th inning, 7 runs scored by the Bandits.
Jeez, I looked and it was 3-1, and they powered on another 5 in there. Good Lord.
Must have been a big home run there, I would say.
Max Brown, the man they call Downtown, he'll be looking to do the same thing for the Tuatara. Can he do it with 1 on and 1 out? Bo Bishop just turns around, heads back to the bag at first. Gets himself a little bit off now.
As you said earlier, Chris, if the Cavs just keep step with the Bandits, they will go ahead on head-to-head results throughout the season if we get to that after the next 8 games. 4 here and then 4 in Sydney to round the season off.
Home runs are plenty up there in Brisbane. Jeremy Martinez for Brisbane. Jack Murphy for Sydney. 1 and 2 now as as Brown doesn't swing. So Murphy gets his second home run for the season. And then in the bottom of the 4th, Tim Colwell. Grand slam to right centre field.
That'll do it.
That will do it. Hence 8-1 up there in the Northern Capital. 1 and 2 the count here at Canberra. Max Brown. Swings through, strikes out.
Big hard swing on that one. That puts him back in the dugout. Big K2. 2 out now for Auckland. Runner at first is Bo Bishop, and we go back to the top of the order for the Tuatara.
On the ABL website, there's a fascinating article, and I think it was on the front page this afternoon. Highly recommend reading it. Steve Mintz, the manager of the Auckland Tuatara, talking about how his side have earned the respect they didn't have last year.
Absolutely they have, and I think that's where you touched on it earlier. The first half of the season, they were losing games. I think they lost 9 in a row. And from last season, that was sort of a carry-on. They didn't do well last season. This season, they strengthened up. Steve Mintz got to them, and he got them rounded up nicely and got them on the winning track. But they bolted away, and a lot of people were taking them for granted. And I think that's where some people got caught out on the back foot.
And they started turning it around against Canberra.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, gee. Thanks for that, guys. 2-0 the count here on the batter as it's Yoni Hernandez, his second time around. At the fly to centre field. Last time in. Hoover looking for the breaking ball and gets it there. 2-1.
Joe Hoover plying his trade well up there. Working well with Robbie Perkins behind the plate, obviously. Perkins very experienced there. Works inside low. Hernandez just backing away from that, as you could see.
It's amazing. You think about Robbie Perkins and you think of him as a veteran. And he's still only in his mid-20s.
It's a worry, isn't it? He seems to have been there forever. Part of the furniture.
We had an interesting conversation a couple of weeks ago during the Geelong Courier game. If you were picking a Cavalry all-time team, 3-1, fly to shallow centre, probably fall short, fall short of Podorski. So that's a single for Hernandez, and runners first and second for the Tuatara.
A little pressure going here with that single to centre field in position 8. Hernandez standing at first, Bishop standing at second. There are 2 out, however, and Cavs just looking to shut this down. Johnny Homza comes to the plate, third baseman, and also one of the strongest hitters in the Auckland side.
Yeah, averages 297 coming into the game this evening. 27.
He's one of those just short of the 300.
2 home runs from 30 hits. A decent hit here to the gap in left field, or the gap in right field. Will score 1. There's plenty of speed around the base paths in this Tuatara lineup. 1-1 the count.
Nice pitch from Hoover.
Gee, he mixes it up well, doesn't he?
Well, he works around the zone. He works the edges very, very well. He's not afraid to go both sides, high, low. Trying never to throw the same pitch twice.
That's a towering fly ball. Nathans goes to his right, then to his left. Has it wrapped up.
No problem whatsoever for Nathans. Brings up the third out on Johnny Homser. That's a good out to get as well. He's a danger man, and to go back later on in the next inning and start with Jared Walker, that's not too bad for the Cavs to have to face up to. No score on the board for Auckland.
We're in the middle of the third. It's 1-0 to the home side. Due up for the Canberra Cavalry. It's Cam Warner, Tucker Nathans and Zach Wilson.
If you're about to make university decisions, make sure you stand out from the crowd. UC is ACT's #1 uni for graduate employment and starting salaries. UC has work placements in every degree. UC is designed specifically for Canberra and the region. Run your own race at the University of Canberra. Apply now, get UC qualified and run circles around the rest.
Trivia happening down there at ground level.
And Chris, you're showing me some of the prizes, raffle prizes and things in the office before we came upstairs. Absolutely sensational Indigenous artwork, and even the Indigenous baseballs that have been handed over to the Cavs. They just look fantastic. And whoever did the artwork on those, the artists, just congratulations to them. The colour schemes, everything, all of the fantastic. There's one there that looked like 3 baseballs, but all in Indigenous art format with the dots and everything. It looked great.
Got to have a look, because Kyle Perkins was talking about batting with a special bat tonight, and I'm not sure whether he's done that. We'll have to have a look. I'll have to pull the binoculars out and check that out in a few minutes' time when he comes back up.
Let's hope he does. Cavs are going to lead off through Cam Warner. As he strides to the plate now, gets ready to step in. No changes for Auckland. Muranaka remains on the hill.
I tell you, Cam Warner, you'd like to think that he'll get another crack over there in the States. Played in 2 College World Series, played some minor league ball as part of the Tigers organisation. And this year he really has come of age. First season for the Cavalry was 2017, averaging 248, then a 220 last year. This year it's 316. He's got a couple of home runs, but 30 hits, just remarkably consistent. This has gone straight up in the air. I'd say it'd bring rain, but we don't want that. First baseman eventually, oh no, he doesn't get to it. That's horrible, horrible confusion. Warner went too far, turned around, dived back in, and got back just in time. Boy, oh boy, comedy of errors. Where's the Benny Hill music?
What on earth? Everybody ran towards it from the infield and backed away. It went towards third baseman Jared Walker, who would normally not make mistakes like that. But he was running towards a ball that was turning in towards a pitching mound. They get that high, it's just like at home plate for the catcher. The ball's not only high, but it's turning away from the player trying to catch it. The spin on the ball is going the wrong way. Hit his glove on the heel and out it popped. And that puts Cam Warner safely at first with an E3. Wow.
And he nearly got himself out.
Yeah, exactly. Terrific turn of fate for the Cavs, and Tucker Nathan steps in now, the right fielder.
Sometimes better to be lucky than good. What's Nathan's got? 1-0 the count on him.
Must be carrying a shamrock in his pocket or something, who knows?
Well, Tucker Nathans, his second stint in the Australian Baseball League. His first game against for the Cavalry was in Auckland earlier this year. And I'm just going to try and dig this up. I reckon his first at-bat against Auckland was a home run. No, it wasn't his first at-bat, but it was certainly in the first game.
Okay, well, he's in the 3 slot, and that's one of the most important batting positions. 2, 3 and 4, they're the big guys you want.
Oh, this is interesting.
Lashes at that one. Both of them out. Warner caught up there in a rundown.
I don't think Nathan's was quite sure what was happening at that. In that, he got halfway up the first baseline, and then suddenly realised, hang on, no, I'm gone. And yeah, Cam Warner had got himself in quite a pickle there.
And it was a reaction from Jared Walker that was instantaneous. And Warner had taken off down the line. The line drive straight to Walker, gets Nathan's out, and then it was the play to second baseman. It was Yoni Hernandez, I think, got the ball off Walker, then just ran Warner back and got him down in the rundown eventually, because there was no rundown really. He's just trying to get back to first safely and then twisted. So 2 out already. Nathan's the first out, Cam Warner the second out. You saw it all on screen.
And Tucker Nathan's probably doing Walker a favour and giving him a chance to atone for the error and to clean up into the double play.
Absolutely. As I said, he's not used to making errors like that. Clears the bases though. Zach Wilson at the plate.
Canberra 5 hits already. Talked about it in the pre-game, or earlier in this game rather. The Cavalry, massive batting average, but haven't been able to get the hits in groups, and that's turning out to be the story of the night so far. 5 hits, here we are, middle of the third. Auckland have 2 hits, but it's just a 1-run lead.
That's
to
it.
The home side.
Yeah, haven't capitalised yet, but they will. Zach Wilson batting .356, and his second appearance at the plate now for the night.
One and two.
Got on his first appearance of the fielder's choice to second base.
And now 2 and 2 outside. I think they actually gave Wilson a hit.
Oh, did they? Okay. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I got 5 hits.
Okay, I thought Blackstone made a play though to.
He made the play that got Cam Warner out, but I suspect that goes down as after, because he could have got Warner at third and on the fielder's choice, but Warner kept going to go home.
He did.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it wasn't the force play at third; it was the optional out at home. So Wilson got himself a hit. Warner got himself out.
That'll work.
So Warner's been out in 2 unusual outs this evening. Deuces wild on the scoreboard as we see Wilson foul one away into the turf on the third base side. Count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes and 2 outs here at MIT Ballpark on Thursday night.
Let's see if Wilson can pop one through on the 2-2 count. Keep the inning alive here at bottom of the third.
Miranaka, I think, has just thrown his 50th pitch for the night.
Yeah, he's looked reasonably uncomfortable at some of the pitches that he's thrown. But the result is it's only a 1-run ball game.
So they've given Warner out at out on the shortstop. So the double play, just the official scoring on that. The double play caught 3 and then 3 to 6.
Yep.
Hard hit, foul ball, third base side again on the full count for Wilson. So he'll now be sitting there and just, if I can't get on base, I'm just going to make sure that Miranaka throws a few more pitches here. We can get the pitching change forced by the 5th inning.
Yeah, that count up here in the bottom of the third needs to be high, and Steve Mintz, the Auckland coach, not afraid to make pitching changes early if he needs to.
Another foul ball.
Wilson's been able to produce the goods all season.
He's just consistent.
Pops it up to right field.
Shouldn't be too hard for McAdams to take care of, and indeed it isn't on the fly to 9. So in rather unusual circumstances, an error in there, a double play, but it still turns out to be 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the third. It is 1-0 to the home side. Canberra leading Auckland Thursday night.
Behind these doors, people are home. Resting, settling in, laughing. These are more than just hotel rooms. They are spaces for living. It's a home away from home, your own abode.
Come home to your Jarrah. For your kind of play, your kind of family, your kind of day, and your kind of neighbourhood. We introduce your kind of community for your kind of value. South.
The Australian Baseball League into its second last week of regular season action. You're catching it all here on theabl.com.au and via NITV plus our worldwide partners. Great to have you on board. Wherever you're watching, whenever you're watching, tremendous to have your company on this Thursday night game. Vital clash as the Auckland Tuatara. I did some maths during the week, and I hate doing maths, Paul.
Didn't like it at school.
No, well, I was pretty good at it at school. It's just since then things have gone backwards. But I reckon the Tuatara need 3 wins. They need 3 wins, and that'll secure them top spot if they get those 3 wins spread across this week and next week. Doesn't matter whether they get 2 this week and 1 next week, or 1 this week and 2 next week.
3 out of 8 games, though.
Yeah, that's enough to get them top spot, because it'll mean that neither Canberra nor Brisbane can catch them, I think.
Gives them that buffer, and I'll tip they'll do that.
I'd be surprised if they didn't.
The race is for second, and that's between Canberra and Brisbane. Canberra hold the cards there at the moment.
Just.
And Blue Sox are on the back foot, quite obviously. They've got too much room to make up, I think. But Brisbane and Canberra doing battle against the 2 rivals, Tuatara and the Blue Sox. So it's going to be interesting with the run-in. And we'll talk about how the postseason works for the fans out there that aren't aware of it.
Fly ball, deep right field. Waiting underneath it is Nathans. Is he going to get there? Is the fence going to get there? He's going to go to the fence. The ball is gone. It's out of the park, and it's all tied up. Jared Walker, well, he comes in with a big reputation and a big average of 351, and he gets it over the fence. Another home run for this Tuatara side.
Wow. Jared Walker, we talked about him. He's in the 3 slot. He is a danger man. And home run straight away, almost straight away, centre field to the right, just a little.
His 6th home run for the season.
Yeah. You know what? It's a single home run. There's a silver lining in every cloud, isn't there?
There is. But
he
go again.
Levels the scores up.
I'll just let you glue the false teeth back in, mate. Have another crack.
1-1. They're still rattling from that home run, I think. Shock horror. 1-1 ball game after all the effort put in by the Cavs early. 1 hit.
Well, I thought Nathan's had it covered. You know, I thought he actually had it absolutely covered. Well, and then he took off again. So it's almost like that one got a second wind. He was going, and then he went a second time, and it was suddenly, oh no, this is out of here. This has gone out of the park. And now Kim's in. Kiwi Kim, 277 was his average coming into tonight. Had a 5-3 infield out previously, and now he's got a count very much his way, but he swings through on the 2-1 off-speed pitch from Hoover, and in the 2-0 off-speed pitch from Hoover, and takes the count to 2-1.
And on that home run again, Chris, the sky has now got a lot darker than it was just 5 or 10 minutes ago. So nightfall has set in now, and there's not that light hue in the background.
Yeah, if it does get above the sky, the floodlights here, ball can disappear a little bit, especially funnily enough in that scoreboard area and in the line of the scoreboard. And maybe that was why Tucker Nathan's movements had a few people at this ballpark full. 2-2 the count now, and make that strike 3 for Kim Won-seok. And he is just the second strikeout for JJ Hoover this evening, and the first out in the top of the 4th here at MIT Ballpark.
And Blackstone comes to the plate now, the big, strong lefty, second baseman. And he strides in. Let's see what JJ Hoover can do with him. Flew him out to right field in his previous at-bat. There he goes, right side again, straight into the glove of Cam Warner.
Well, Hoover won't mind that one little bit. Comes in, throws one pitch and takes care of Blackstone. He will not be complaining at all. Huge weekend here in Canberra for baseball. Of course, Indigenous night this evening. We had Welcome to Country. We were going to have a smoking ceremony prior to the game as well, but it got a little bit wet for that. I think there was a boomerang throwing competition as well prior to the game. As we see Andrew Mark come in. First pitch is a strike on him. Tomorrow night, Pride Night. And let me tell you,
excellent.
If you haven't seen the Cavalry uniforms for tomorrow night and the caps they're wearing, they are absolutely stunning. They're a grey cap.
Yep.
With the horse, and the horse has a rainbow mane. It looks absolutely stunning. I've had about 8 people say, can I order one?
Yeah, excellent.
So my credit card's about to get a massive workout, and I just hope everyone's going to pay me for them at the end. 1-1. Hard hit, chopper. Bounces just past the glove of Hoover. Picked up, no, not picked up by Melyan. Stays on the ground. And I reckon that might go in the books as a single. Let's wait for a second. Yeah, it goes in the books as a hit on the board.
I think so. Comebacker got past Hoover, and Melyan, as you said, just couldn't find the handle on it.
The infield single, and Andrew Mark is on base. Gee, I'd like $1 for every time that's been said during the course of this season.
Single to 6. So 1-1 ball game. Josh McAdams coming to the plate for Tuatara.
Yeah. Mark, 33 hits now for the season.
Wow.
And the vast bulk of them singles. He just does it time after time after time. Just 6 doubles and 1 homer. So what's that, 33? So 26 singles for him for the season. But just gets on base and gets on base and gets on base.
Worse than a dripping tap.
Josh McAdams is in. Had that unusual pop fly to 4 a couple of innings ago. You hear Riley Barrington call strike on that to take it to an 0-2 count now. Hoover will be desperate to wrap this inning up here. And then it'll be Candalis, Robinson and Robbie Perkins to the home side. 0-2 is the count. Make that 1-2 as Hoover drags the right arm across the body on the pitching delivery there. And it's now 1-2. Yeah, so Pride Night tomorrow night. If you're watching us live, you can check out merchandise that's available. There's special T-shirts.
Should be a good crowd in.
Oh, it'll be a cracking crowd tomorrow night. As the count goes to 2-2. But yeah, if I'm not sure what's left for people watching us on our delayed out-of-season replays on NOTV, but worth checking it out on the Canberra Cavalry website, gocavsgo.com.au. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Some fabulous gear in there for tonight as we see Hoover looking to get it on the outside corner. Just dropped away a little bit. And Robbie Perkins just getting up and signalling after that. I think just reminding everyone it's 2 outs.
Yeah, nobody moved. I think that's all it was.
Yeah.
Keeping the heads up in the game. 2 out. Let's get the 3rd one.
2 outs, full count. Runner goes. Hard hit. Gets past the diving Warner. Picked up off the ground by Nathans. Runner's going to 3rd. Ball's going to beat him there. The ball comes off the turf. Will the Tuatara take the lead here? I think they might. They will. That ball, I think, has that actually wound up going out of the ground? I think it may have.
Dug out, I think so, yeah. Time called. Runner stands at 2nd. Fresh ball goes out. Wow. Andrew Mark crosses for that go-ahead run. Josh McAdams standing safely at second.
So Nathan's had the throw, but it just hit the dirt, and I reckon there might be some variable bounce around on that dirt this evening. And suddenly,
wow,
the visitors have a 2-1 lead.
Just turns around like that.
And it's 5 hits apiece, by the way. Talked about not capitalising and not getting the hits in batches. Hard hit. Big hit from Bo Bishop. Gets it across to Kyle Perkins. He takes his time. Make sure he gets the throw across the diamond to complete the out. The 5-3 play goes in the books. But in a 2-run top of the 4th, the lead changes. It's now the visiting Auckland Tuatara leading the Canberra Cavalry 2-1 in the Australian Baseball League.
Follow the boats to the view at the top, the snap of the dawn to the peck of the crop. Across the horizon you jump, skip and hop, and never stop.
Thursday night, Australian Baseball League action. And we are heading into the bottom of the 4th inning. It'll be David Candless due in for the Canberra Cavalry. He's already had a double tonight. Robinson was out at 4. And then Robbie Perkins got a walk. So it's been a mixed bag for the Cavalry. They've had 5 walks, 1 hit, 1 error to get themselves plenty of men on base, but all that effort has produced just 1 run so far, Paul Harradine. Meanwhile, for the Auckland Tuatara, 5 hits, precious little else, no help from the Cavalry field, and they find themselves leading 2-1.
A massive effort from the Cavs early game, but as you said, Chris, not able to convert that into runs on the scoreboard. And leading by 1, Tucker Nathan's in the first inning, the 3rd batter in the lineup, crosses for that run. But they couldn't produce any more after that from the 5 hits they've got. And now we've seen Auckland overtake them. We're talking about Muranaka on the mound and his high pitch count and struggling early on as well. But now he's settled into a bit of a rhythm. Still on the mound, no changes from either side here, as you would expect. Early game, only the bottom of the 4th inning. So it's up to the Cavs bats now to get it all rattling, get them all woken up, and see if they can produce some more brilliant hits like they got early on, and then convert them into runs.
Muranaka's thrown 53 pitches. That'll be 54 as the first pitch to Candless is away for a ball. Hoover, however, after a very long 4th inning, now finds himself having thrown 61. Yeah. The game has completely turned around in the last 15 minutes.
Absolutely turned on its head. Candless got a double to right field in his first appearance. Let's see if he can replicate that.
And from memory, that double was after a very long at-bat. Got to a full count and failed a couple off. And now finds himself with a 2-0 count. And who's produced the goods? At so many baseball clubs in so many countries for so many years. David Candless, 3-0 now.
He's had a career and a half.
Rookie ball, full A, advanced A, double A, triple A. Played the lot. Nearly 400 games in the minors, including just a handful at triple A. Hard hit. This might put him in a little bit of trouble as it's picked up by Blackstone. Sent across to Walker. And Candy out on the 4-3 play, which will bring in Chucky Robinson. What a career Candelas has had. I reckon he's one of those players, and you being a man who's been associated with multiple clubs in the ABL over the journey, Paul. Of course, David Candelas played for Sydney for several years and moved to Canberra a few years ago.
He did.
One of those rare players who was equally popular with the team that he left still, even years after he left there, and he's playing against them now.
Without doubt. And he played in the State League up there in New South Wales as well. And that's where he built his career initially before appearing for the Sox and then coming down to the Cavs. And yeah, he's a great bloke. His father would come down and do all the photos for us as well. He's been down here taking lots of photos of the fortress. And he takes after his father. They're both real life gentlemen, you know, and Candyman is just a great character to talk to.
Chucky Robinson has drilled this to the deepest part of the park. It's just in the shadows, but waiting underneath it was Brown. He had to wait an eternity. He was backing up. He would have heard the warning track and felt the texture change under his feet, but he just kept on backing up. Knew the fence was looming large, but did everything absolutely right. Good play from Brown.
I think he just about was leaning on the fence when he took the catch. That was just so little bit short of a home run. It was a matter of feet. That's all it was. Brown, as I said, landed on the fence, I think, to brace himself. Well caught, but a very high hit ball.
Yeah, 396-foot special to the 400-foot part of the park.
They hurt.
Yeah. I think it's slightly deeper. I'd have to check the aerial shot. I know it's 400 to dead centre. I think it just gets a little bit deeper because it's sort of straight there and then curves away. So it's maybe a couple of feet deeper out there, but not much in it. This might get past. It does get past Hernandez as Robbie Perkins, after a walk, his first at bat, on his second pitch, gets a single to centre field and gets himself on base.
Something out of the bottom of the fourth here for Robbie Perkins. Batting in the 7 slot. He gets something started. Do we see a 2-out rally from the Cavalry?
Now let me see. Has he gone for the special bat tonight, Kyle Perkins? Nope, that's just your regulation baseball bat.
Okay.
There was some talk it was going to be a painted bat tonight for him. And a bit of lacquer over the top of the paint, so it would have all been legal. But
hardened, yeah.
But just the regulation bat from him at the moment. We've got him a single to centre field last time around. What's he got here? 2 out, 1 on, and an 0-1 count.
Maybe saving that bat.
And now 0-2. Kyle Perkins looks up the line, gets the signal from third base. Robbie's had a look over as well, so the brothers worked out what they're doing. They know what's going on. The 0-2 count. I reckon most people would have a fairly decent clue as to what's going on here. Unless it's head high or in the dirt. Kyle's got a swing at it, you'd think. Well, it's not quite head high, but it was high enough.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
That's there, but out as well, I'd say. Had a nice bit of pace on that pitch from Muranaka.
And Kyle Perkins swings through, strikes out. Canberra leave another one stranded on base. 4 innings in the books, and the visitors lead it 2-0 in the Australian Baseball League.
Hurry up with that thing.
Have you tried the grey cake?
Yeah, I've tried it all.
So who are you backing in this game?
With their 3-point shooting.
Guys, relax. I got this.
Don't want to miss a second of the action this season? With Tabs Basketball Live Vision, you can stream games and access exclusive previews for free, anytime, anywhere.
Whoa, don't splash the box.
Yeah, don't splash the box, bro.
Who are you backing this NBA season? Tab. Download the app today.
It's the festive holiday season. Make sure your car is ready to go the distance this summer. Give us a call to book in your pre-holiday safety inspection on 1300 727 320 at MIT Automotive in Fishwick.
Approaching the midpoint of this Thursday night game in the Australian Baseball League, where the Canberra Cavalry hosting the Auckland Tuatara. And due up for the visitors, it is Max Brown, Yoni Hernandez and Johnny Homza. They have a 2-1 lead. But we get to this late stage in the season, Paul Harradine, and games right around the league are very, very important. What's happening across the board?
Vital games here, Chris. The Brisbane Bandits and the Sydney Blue Sox in Brisbane tonight. Bandits leading the Blue Sox by 8 runs to 3. Sydney getting 2 runs back, starting a bit of a roll to try and catch up, but it's a 5-run gap in that game. They're in the bottom of the 6th inning now with Brisbane batting, but it is 8-3 in favour of the Bandits there. In Melbourne, between Melbourne Aces and the Adelaide Giants, it's 2-2 through the 7th inning here. Melbourne in the bottom of the 7th at the moment. Scores locked at 2-2. And between Geelong and Perth, out there at Geelong, is Perth Heat 4, Geelong 0. After 8 innings completed, they're in the 9th now, top of the 9th. And here at Canberra, between the Cavs and Auckland Tuatara. Tuatara leading the Cavs by 2 runs to 1 through 4 innings.
What does Max Brown have as Hoover comes in? Brown shapes to bunt, it bounces down into the ground and then hits him.
I think it hit him out of the box as well. It played umpire Riley Barrington all over it. An appeal immediately by Robbie Perkins saying, come on, he ran into the ball outside the batter's box.
And now out comes Keith Ward to ask questions of Riley Barrington.
Absolutely.
And Riley's saying, well, have you ever seen an umpire change his mind? I'm not about to do that.
Only on a question of law.
Yeah.
I would say in Riley's defence, in his opinion,
yes,
he still had 1 foot on the line or in the batter's box.
So 0-1 is the count here. We're going to play why the Sydney Blue Sox should thank the Canberra Cavalry in just a moment as Brown swings through for strike 2. What did you say the score was there in Brisbane? 8-3, so 3 runs to the Sydney Blue Sox. Yeah, 3 solo home runs.
Oh.
Yeah. Would you like to take a guess who scored them? Jack Murphy scored 1.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Bosmo Noroa scored the 2nd.
Came from the Cavs last year.
And Michael Krause scored the 3rd one, who's had 2 stints here at the Canberra Cavalry. So, that's okay. So basically what you're saying is the Brisbane Bandits 8, the Canberra Cavalry second team is 3. Right, okay. Just as long as we've got that cleared up.
Good pick up, Chris. Nice work.
1 and 2. Make that 2 and 2 now for Max Brown. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself now,
Can you give the Blue Sox back Moa Noroa? He did start in Sydney.
He did, but he
Newcastle native.
He became a cult figure down here.
Of course he did.
2 and 2. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself, though. So Boss's home run. We'll come back to it in a second. Chopper bounces a couple of times, picked up by Kyle Perkins, and the throw is never going to beat Max Brown in time. A, because Brown is very, very quick up the line, and B, because Kyle Perkins was fielding a little bit deep, and that chopper was not moving at speed. So a single to third, and Max Brown gets on there. So Boss's home run, where did he hit it to? Which side of the park?
Not opposite field.
No, he hit it to the right field.
Right field.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, please don't tell me he slapped on opposite field over the fence.
No, straight to right centre field.
He's been working on opposite field for the last month.
Well, he needs to, because everyone puts the shift on him. But, of course, if you hit over the top of the shift, it makes absolutely no difference. You can put as many as you like in right field if they go out of the park.
The fence is a nice place.
So, it's a 2-1 ball game here. 1 on, none out, runner goes. Foul ball, runner will have to turn around and go back. Will Max Brown and Yoni Hernandez will just take his pause, wander out of the box for a moment and get himself a new set of signals and comes back in. 1 strike on him.
The momentum shift to the cool, calm, collected Tuatara is amazing.
They don't get flustered.
They didn't. They just stayed their course, didn't they?
It's a massive change from last season.
Oh.
I remember last season seeing them, although admittedly they probably played Canberra better than they played anyone else last year, but I remember watching some of their games on TV and they just looked a little bit flustered at times. I'm yet to see them stressed this season.
Last year they looked like the nervous new team. The new kids on the block, and they were nervous all season. This year it took them a little while to settle in, admittedly. They got to the 3rd series before they could actually get some sort of rhythm. But once they started that rhythm, gee, they're like a runaway train.
1-1 the count for Hernandez.
And the runaway train in the Southwest Division, of course, Adelaide Giants. Change of name, change of branding.
Does it all for them. I love that logo, the Adelaide Giants logo. 2-1 here for Hernandez. A chance to really blow this one wide open, and he may have done just that. Podolski has it covered and it falls in short. Just held up a little bit into the deeper part of the park.
Gets that important first out on the board for the Cavs. Podolski doing the work out there in the deep depths.
So Hernandez at a fly to 8, a single to 8 and a fly to 8 tonight. Reckon he's seeing it fairly well out of the hand of JJ Hoover.
Just a little bit.
I think he's seeing that fairly comfortably, straight up the middle 3 times.
One of them worked in the top of the third inning. Johnny Homza comes to the plate now. He'll be followed by Jared Walker, the danger man that hit the home run over centre field. A lot of work for Podolski out there.
Double play would be very handy for the Cavalry right now.
Nice little ground ball.
So 1-0 is the count on Homza. Max Brown gave himself just a couple of steps off the bag, but retreated just as quickly. 2-0.
He's got legs like a spider. He's all legs. Don't know how tall he is, but most of it is leg.
Well, that won't be the double play, and no one's chasing that. It's going to go off.
Right on our head, I think.
Actually, I have no idea where that one wound up. It was coming back in our direction, but didn't go down in front of us and didn't seem to have the legs on it to go behind us, so I've got no idea where it went. Maybe there's a temporal anomaly opening up there. It'll appear in another dimension on the other side of the galaxy.
Did you say temporal anomaly?
A temporal yeah, don't ask me to say it a second time. 2-1 the count. I've been reading science fiction. Fly ball. Shallow left field. Robinson's got it covered, I think. Yeah, he does. Robinson we've seen more of as a catcher. It's the first time I've seen him playing in the outfield. Had it covered. Takes the fly to 7.
So that's Homza out of the way.
That is Homza done. But now in comes Jared Walker. He's got a 1-run homer. He's got a chance to get a 2-run homer now.
Let's hope not.
You get the so you get the cycle is getting a single, a double, a triple, and a home run. What do you get if you get a 1-run homer, a 2-run homer, a 3-run homer,
and a grand slam?
And a grand slam.
Has that got a name?
I think that's where you just go and they build a statue to you and they put you atop of Mount Olympus and you are revered forever as a baseball god.
It's the Big Hurt.
He's trying for it. Gave it a good go, did Walker, but fouled it away.
It was a fairly decent hack, wasn't it?
0-1.
Wonder what Robbie Perkins puts down for his pitcher Hoover up there on the mound. What magic can he work to get this out?
Don't throw what you threw that got sent out of the park. Don't give him the same thing.
Don't ever pitch it there again.
0-1. 2 out, 1 on. And that catches the inside. 1-1. Oh, sorry, 0-2.
Nice pitch. Sure, Robbie Perkins can conjure up something for Hoover to throw to him. I think he'll stay away with the next pitch.
Let's see where he goes.
Challenge.
Indeed. Challenged him. It's gone high. Nathans and Podolski converging on it. It swirls away towards Podolski, and it's a fly to centre field. So after a single in the infield, 3 flyouts, a few deep breaths.
He had the temerity to challenge him, and that's exactly what he did.
The contest is well and truly on. We're at the midpoint of this one, middle of 4. It's 2-1 to Auckland over Canberra.
Yeah, Gallo. Oh, this is how we gonna do it.
If you're about to make university decisions, make sure you stand out from the crowd. UC is ACT's #1 uni for graduate employment and starting salaries. UC has work placements in every degree. UC is designed specifically for Canberra and the region. Run your own race at the University of Canberra. Apply now, get UC qualified and run circles around the rest.
Week 9 of the Australian Baseball League, and it's the North East Division leaders, the Auckland Tuatara, yet again threatening to do a number on the Canberra Cavalry, the second place side in that division. This one stays this way. There will be quite a considerable amount of change in the ladder positions. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. There's still a long way to go in this one as we head into the bottom of the 5th, and it's Kelvin Melian due up for the Cavalry to be followed by Robbie Podorski and Cam Warner. And my name is Chris Coleman. Alongside me, Paul Harradine. It's amazing that you've done a couple of hundred ABL games thereabouts. I'm closing in on a couple of hundred ABL games. It's the first time we've actually worked together in commentary for a full game, Harrow.
It is, Chris. We've interviewed each other at various points in time. I've been to Canberra, you've been to Sydney, and you've been to Melbourne as well and called games, and the overlap in the numbers must work just about neck for neck. I'd say you're maybe a few games in front. And we've all had a lot of fun, but some of the most fun we had was when the Major League opening series took place in the Sydney Cricket Ground.
That was awesome. And
that was fantastic, and we were both just having a chat about our discussions we had with Vin Scully, the voice of the Dodgers.
We'll talk about that over the next inning or so as we see Meliana with a 2-0 count here as he's taken the first two from Muranaka. I'm still trying to work out what Muranaka's throwing here a lot of the time. I find him very hard to read. And that's a sign of a good pitcher when it's hard to pick up what he's throwing.
Well, he mixes up his fastball with a lot of off-speed, but the off-speed varies. He hasn't just got fast and slow. He's got a lot of off-speed variations.
But, as draws a strike on Melian, 2-1. Melian did check the swing, but I think it was called on the pitch. So 2-1, and that's a foul ball. There's 8-2-2. But yeah, Harrow, you were mentioning that you were lucky enough to spend a bit of time with Vin Scully, as was I, but you had a good chat with him?
I only had a few minutes with him.
Remarkable man, though.
Did so many interviews, and he retired, I think, 12 months after that, or 2 years after that, he retired. But, gee, had a fair innings there at calling baseball for the Dodgers and generally, but what a lovely man to speak to. And he asked me what I was doing. I'd only just started, basically.
Another foul ball.
And... you know, we were talking about how long I would do it. I was doing basically community-type radio and everything else. And he said, "Are you having fun?" I said, "Yeah, I'm having fun." He said, "As long as you're having fun and you keep enjoying it, keep doing it." Yeah. Best advice I could have got, and that's what I've done ever since, no matter what other people say, as long as I'm happy.
Too true. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Melian. None out here for the Canberra Cavalry, and that's high and away. And then off into the safety netting. So up to the full count here. Yeah, as you well know, Harrow, I'm a massive fan of the Los Angeles Dodgers, have been for many years. So when it was announced that not only was Major League Baseball coming to Australia, but it was going to be the Dodgers, you can imagine what kind of a mood I was in. For about a month, I don't think my feet touched the ground.
Absolutely, and you had the opportunity, we'll get back to in a moment, to interview Vin Scully.
I did 3 and 2. This is a fly ball. This is going deep. McAdams comes around. It doesn't go as deep as I thought it was initially off the bat, and that's a comfortable catch taken by McAdams, the fly to 9, and it's 1 down for the Cavs. Yeah,
he took 1 step to his right. Thank you very much.
He took 1 step. Looked like he was going to go a lot faster, and then no, just set.
Yep.
I'm in the right spot already. So that's 1 down as Podorski comes in. He's had a strikeout and grounded into a double play, a 5-4-3 double play back in the 2nd inning. So yeah, the one thing I was desperate for was. As I was lucky enough to call those games for ABC Radio here in Australia, which was quite an amazing experience. As we see Podorski not mucking around, but it's hit hard to Blackstone. He's got all the time in the world and takes it to, sends it across to Walker, completes the play 4-3 and down.
2 up, 2 down the Cavs. That will bring Cam Warner to the plate.
So we may actually stay with. I'll finish the story when we get into when we get to the break between innings, because this game's just going far too fast for us to chat about too many things here.
Better stick with the action.
So I think we've covered enough of our commercial commitments for a little while. So we might stay with the tail between innings here as we see what Cam Warner can do with his side down by one and 2 out. He gets ahead in the count on the first one low from Miranaka, 1-0. Now, I haven't been timing him, but I just get the feeling the other thing about Miranaka that makes him hard to get a handle on as a pitcher is that he seems to, sometimes he'll throw with a short gap between them and then there'll be a longer gap. There's no rhythm.
Yep.
It's been a long gap before that pitch. Doesn't help him much. It's another ball, 3-0. Now Bishop up, gets the ball back to him. Let's see how he goes here. Very slow, loping walk up to the top of the mound. There's only been the one walk here tonight. There's Robbie Perkins back in the second. Cam Warner with a 3-0 count. And he takes the chance to try and get the walk, but it's on the bottom outside corner, 3-1.
Which is good for both pitchers that they haven't issued walks. There's only that one, as you said, but it's pretty tight in there.
Explains why the game's going so quickly.
Yes.
3-1 count. Hard hit grounder. Reaching down with the glove is Homza, sends it across and completes the play, 5-3 and out. We'll stay in the ballpark this time because we'll finish off this story about when the Los Angeles Dodgers came to Australia.
Took on the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Yeah. So I'd been desperately trying to, as I was doing the Australian, the ABC radio coverage and the ABC radio podcast on baseball at that stage. And I desperately wanted to get an interview with Vin Scully for it. And he had, as you said, gave a lot of interviews, a lot of commitments. The opportunity finally presented itself about an hour and a half before the first game.
Yes.
And my runner for the day, Scott Deeks, I said to him, we're going to do something that's either going to get us the interview that I want or it's going to get us thrown out, because we're down on the turf at the SCG.
Yes.
Had just spoken to Don Mattingly.
And security was tight.
Yeah, security was very tight. And Andre Ethier, we'd had a chat with him and a few other players. And I'd looked up and I'd seen Vin Scully up in the box, just up in his commentary box getting ready. Worked out which box he was in compared to where we were. And I said to my runner, said, well, we're going to take a chance here. We went up, knocked on the door. And his producer answered open. And I said, look, I'm doing the Australian commentary. I do the Australian Baseball League podcast. I was just wondering if there's any chance I could have a couple of minutes with Mr. Scully. And the producer who answered the door sort of looked me up and down for a second. Then he turns around and said, hey, Vin, we've got your Aussie counterpart over here. He'd like to talk to you. Have you got a couple of minutes? So I went in, sat down, recorded the 3-minute interview because I thought I'm not going to take a lot of time. 3-minute interview, finished it up, got a photo, which I later gave him a copy of, by the way.
Yes.
Shook hands, got up to walk away, and he said, before you go, over there, that says the Clive Churchill stand.
Yeah.
Tell me, who was Clive Churchill? So I then started explaining about South Sydney Rugby League and how the cricket ground had also hosted rugby league, rugby union, Australian football, etc. Soccer had been played there at various stages. And then he says, over there, that's the Victor Trumper stand. Who was Victor Trumper? So then I talk about cricket. 20 minutes I sat there talking, and I was as happy as a pig in the proverbial.
Of course you were.
Absolutely amazing. And I think the statute of limitations is now up on this one, that I can safely say, after we walked out of there, and he'd said, if you ever come over to Los Angeles, make sure you come in and say good day in my office.
Yeah.
And I took him up on that during his last season, which was tremendous. Gave him a pile of ABL swag.
Yes.
I have a confession to make about the rest of this in a moment, as we see in the batter's box for the Tuatara. It's Kiwi Kim, fly ball, foul ball off into Snake Gully. We haven't seen too many go down there tonight.
Still there too.
It is indeed. Well, we can't do much about that. Got to leave the snake somewhere. 0-1 is the count for Kim. I walked out afterwards, and I stood outside the box, and I just said to my runner, I said, you know how we're broadcasting the game in about an hour, and he said, yeah. I said, I don't care, I need a drink. Couldn't believe what had just happened. Was the experience of a lifetime. Went down to the bar, grabbed myself a beer, didn't even touch the sides.
Yes.
I think I can actually confess to that one now, some 6 years after the event.
Absolutely.
0-1 is the count on Kim. And make that 1-1.
A wonderful experience, and of course another link to that game was Didi Gregorius, former shortstop for the Cavalry.
Indeed, caught up with Didi there. Played here in the ABL in season 1. Didn't do a heap with the bat, but boy, did he do some stuff at shortstop.
I have a highlight call on the Sports Broadcasting Australia website of Didi Gregorius turning a double play, first half of a double play from shortstop on a ball that nobody thought he could get.
He was amazing. He was absolutely incredible. 2-1. Now the count here on Kim. Make that 3-1.
Then Gregorius moved from Diamondbacks to the Yankees.
Mm-hmm. And who's he with now? He's been traded.
Phillies,
yeah.
Yeah.
He's had an injury, missed a lot of last season. So the Yankees not really renowned for keeping players on the books when they have injuries.
That's right.
I don't think they're the only club you can say that about either. Foul ball, first base side, full count now on Kim. But I still have a theory, and I know that. I know we're not supposed to complain about things in Australian baseball, but can I put one out there?
You can.
Can I put one out there? We'll wait till after the at-bat from Kim is resolved. On the full count, Hoover pitches. Kim, fly ball to right centre field. Podolski has a bead on it. Oh, my God, how did he get to that?
Wow.
How did he get to that? He's run 30 metres.
And I thought it was going to be Tucker Nathan's ball, who was only jogging towards it.
Holy Nelly, he has some serious legs out there, that man.
All I can suggest is Podolski called Nathan's off very, very early. He must have screamed for it. He was going 1,000,000 miles an hour and took a great running catch. One up, one down, let's say.
Yeah, kids, eat your spinach.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Go, Gadget Arm. And there it was. Kent Blackstone strides to the plate now for Tuatara.
Takes the first pitch for strike one.
Whew.
And now I can't remember what we were talking about.
You were talking.
I was talking. What was I talking about? I'm blown away by that catch from Podolski.
Oh, we're talking about the theory on players changing clubs, whether they're injured or not.
Oh, yeah. As we said, pop up. Now there's 3 Cavs converging on this. Melian's called for it and gloves it easily. Pop fly to 6.
2 up, 2 down.
Yep. And Andrew Mark due up. So what I was going to say was, you'd remember the first game in the Australian Baseball League when it reconvened. Do you remember the first at-bat?
It was in Sydney.
It was in Sydney.
The game ball was flown in by helicopter.
Mm-hmm. The pitcher was?
Starting pitcher.
Chris Oxspring.
It was the Hawks, who's just completed 4 decades of pitching at a high level of baseball.
And the first batter for the Canberra Cavalry, as Andrew Mark takes the first pitch for ball 1. The first batter was? Didi Gregorius.
Oh, there you go, leading off. I didn't think it was leading off. Yeah, there you go.
So 2 men, one of whom had played in the majors and was completing his career in the Australian ball foul, tipped off to the netting from Andrew Mark. 1-1 is the count now. And one man who was very much on his way up and went on to play in the majors. Now, the trophy that Canberra and Sydney play for is called the Hume Highway Cup.
Yes.
I've always had a problem with that for one really good reason. The Hume Highway doesn't actually come to Canberra.
That's right.
1-1, bounces a couple of times, picked up by Warner, and he completes the play. The 4-3 is out there to wrap up the inning.
3 up, 3 down.
That's what the Cavs needed, but they also need runs. We'll find out if they can produce some soon as we head into the bottom of the 6, and we'll complete the theory about what should the Sydney and Canberra sides play for in a moment. I'll let you think about it during the break, Harrow. Put your thinking cap on. Here are some thinking commercials for our thinking viewers.
G'day, mate.
Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
This is Callum Murray.
Callum Murray to the seafood aisle.
Callum Murray. Why'd they name you that?
I take you.
Callum Murray. Let's make it Jack.
Drink it through with Dare Iced Coffee.
Thursday night baseball in the nation's capital between Auckland and Canberra in the Australian Baseball League, and it is Auckland leading 2-1 as we head into the bottom of the 6th. Canberra led it early. It was after Tucker Nathan's singled and was brought home courtesy of a single from Zach Wilson and then a double from David Candelas. And that was back in the 1st, but then Auckland struck back in the 4th with a single, with a 1-run homer rather, to Jared Walker. And then Andrew Marks singled and was brought home on a Josh McAdams double to make it a 2-1 ball game. And it's still Kyohei Muranaka on the mound, still warming up there for the Auckland Tuatara. But Harrow,
you've given me a challenge.
I've given you a challenge. I've given you a few moments to think about what would be a better name than the Hume Highway Cup. And if you're happy with Hume Highway Cup, by the way, I'm not going to argue with you because it is what it is. It also isn't a cup, by the way. I don't think there is actually a cup. I've yet to see a cup.
At least the ashes are ashes.
Exactly, yeah. But I have a theory. But if you've got a suggestion, I'd love to hear what yours is. As we see Tucker Nathan's in for the Cavalry, strike one on him.
I'll need thinking time, that's for sure, because the Hume, as you said, goes around Canberra.
See, I always thought the Hume Highway Cup should be the Sydney-Melbourne series.
Yep. I don't think it needs to be something like Memorial or anything like that. That's not between the two cities, but there is something, and you can't bring something to mind immediately.
Oh, 1-1 now the count as Nathans takes the second pitch lowered inside. So, hark back to what I was talking about before. The first pitch in the league was Chris Oxspring to Didi Gregorius. One man had played in the majors, another one went on to play in the majors. Isn't that what the Australian Baseball League really is all about?
Oh, it is about the ladder. It's about climbing a ladder. It's about the start, the beginning.
For a lot of the guys who come here from overseas, they come here with the hope of going on to play in the bigs.
Yep.
And for Australians, some of them are using it to get to the bigs. Others have played in the bigs and they're coming back to thank the Australian baseball community, put on that victory lap.
And putting back into the game and developing the younger players coming up and giving them an insight into the experience.
So what have you called it? The Oxspring Gregorius Cup or the Gregorius Oxspring Cup? Take your pick.
I can't get half the words out of my mouth.
I know, it's hard to say. That's the problem with it. That's the problem with it, is it's not easy to say. But the Oxspring Gregorius Cup, well, I'm just thinking in cricket, you've got between Australia and Sri Lanka, the Warren Muralitharan Trophy, the Chapel Hadley Trophy in the Australia-New Zealand series. There's a few others like that. I just think it's a great name. Then again, it's my idea, so of course I think it's a great name.
I'll need to sleep on that for sure.
You've got a few more nights here in Canberra as Nathans tries to put it to the moon and doesn't get very much on it at all, 2-2.
Another 3 nights sleep before I pull out of town on Sunday. That's going to keep me awake, I think, Chris. You've done it.
Go. There we go. My work here is done. I'll just leave you to sit here and cogitate for the rest of the night, and I'll go off to the bar. Thank you very much. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Tucker Nathans. As the only run in the Cavalry scorebook against his name tonight. Can he add another one now? Timing would be very good for him to do so. Bends the knees, thinks about it, leaves it. Count goes full. Riley Barrington goes for a short walk because he's run out of balls.
Yeah, he gets a whole fresh load to load up there and does a good job, young Riley. And it's good to see him back on the diamond doing an excellent job. He was one of the development umpires way back several years ago, and he's done good work with that, a bit like Tom West.
He's probably in action for the Brisbane game tonight. We should probably...
We'll check that. I'll just refresh.
Well. I reckon Perth have probably wrapped up that win against Geelong Korea.
They have. It is 4-0 Perth over Geelong. After 9 innings completed, that's the final scoreline, 4-0 Perth over Geelong. The Sydney and Brisbane game. Brisbane still leading Sydney by 8-3. They're only through the 6th innings.
I reckon that might have been hit by rain.
Yep, again.
Because that's been sitting there in the 6th for a while. Nathan's foul ball, first base side. I'll let you get us the Melbourne-Adelaide score, and I'll see if I can find it if there is a rain delay indeed up there in Brisbane.
Certainly Melbourne leading Adelaide by 5-3. A handy little lead. They're in the bottom of the 8th. So getting close to an end there with Melbourne in a handy lead. 2-run ball game. Battles going on around the country.
And in the battle between Tucker Nathans and Kyohei Muranaka, it is another foul ball, which means the count remains full. And indeed, in the top of the 6th, just off the back of the Michael Krause homer, he must have put it a long way up because it's brought rain, quite literally. That game has been delayed by rain. The bad news for Sydney is it's in the 6th.
Ooh.
So that'll be time and game, done and dusted.
And Tucker Nathans issued with a walk. Base on balls for Nathans here in Canberra. The lead-off in the bottom of the 6th innings. And it's Cavs with a runner on. Percentage chance of him crossing home plate to score a run are very high at this stage with the lead-off on.
Well, if you look at who's following him up as well.
Mr. Wilson.
Wilson, Candelas, Robinson, Perkins. There's plenty there to like. Of course, there's also the possibility that Wilson's going to drill it straight to shortstop and it'll turn into a double play. Just putting that out there.
You're putting it out there for reverse psychology.
Absolutely, I am. I didn't realise I was quite so transparent.
Muranaka, I'd like to know his pitch count at this stage. Bullpen is active for Auckland.
Josh Coleman to be down there rallying the troops and having a good discussion. Wilson takes the first pitch. 1-0. Muranaka closing in on 100. That would have been pitch number 89. 50 of them strikes. Hoover's, by the way, thrown 88 and 55 strikes. It has been a quality pitching night tonight.
That is a battle.
Muranaka was a little bit rough in the first, but otherwise he's been bang on as he tries to pick off. Well, doesn't really try to pick off Nathans. He just sends Nathans back from whence he came at first. And the 4th inning was a bit rough for Hoover, but otherwise we've had a cracking pitching performance here tonight, and it is just a 2-1 ball game between the Tuatara and the Canberra Cavalry.
As you said, Chris, only one walk issued across both teams.
As we see Wilson get it up the middle. He gets another hit. That's his 2nd for the night. And the Cavalry just a little cautious there. Nathans rounded the corner at 2nd, but held up very, very quickly.
Yeah, trusting the arm of Max Brown. Max Brown charging that ground ball out through centre field, and you're not going to challenge that one.
So that's the 90th pitch of the night for Muranaka. I reckon this might be about his last inning. 90 pitches, 51 strikes. What else can I give you by way of numbers for him? They've been pretty good.
Been very good, enough to hold back the Cavs bats, stop them from scoring after the first inning, and just keeping a steady course while his team were able to accumulate their runs.
6 hits, 2 walks, the second one coming in this inning. But just the 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts. Been a pretty good performance from both of those men.
Leaving that one outside and low. He's got no outs here in the bottom of the 6th with Candelas at the plate. Candyman Ken got a double to 9 in his first appearance and grounded out to second base in the 4th inning.
Needs to hit it into the space here. Or alternatively, again, exercising great patience in his at-bat. 2-0 now the count. Candelas gets on and loads the bases. He's got Chucky Robinson coming in after him. Robinson's already got 1. He might even have a 2nd grand slam for the season, actually. Foul ball, first base side. Certainly 1 grand slam in Perth was a monster. It was an absolute monster.
Need to be there.
Yeah, that Perth ballpark, it's a big ballpark and it often plays bigger than it is.
Yeah.
Wind often blows in over the train tracks and in from outfield. I reckon they set up a fan in that groundskeeper's shed out there for when the opposition are batting. 2-1. I'd best stop there. I'll get myself in trouble. 2-1. That's going to right field. It might fall safe. No, he's got some serious... No, it's gone over the top of him. It's beaten McAdams. This will be a double. No, it won't, because the runners ahead of him have got around now. There's going to be an attempt to get home. He gets around the throw, does he? No, he doesn't.
He was held up at third as well.
Oh, he was held up, and then the throw came into first, and then the Cavalry sent him.
I don't know who the third base coach is for the Cavs, but I thought he was going to crash tackle him to stop him going home. He was clearly holding him up, but he had so much momentum. I don't think Tucker Nathans could stop, to be honest.
So, the situation, the only change in the end in the situation is that there's runners at first and second and one out now instead of runners at first and second and none out. I think we can say that is a little bit of a waste there for the Canberra Cavalry, and it's the second time tonight we've seen a runner thrown out at the plate.
On a run they probably shouldn't have made.
And unnecessarily thrown out at the plate.
Yeah.
Because Cam Warner was out earlier at the plate, and that was when Nathans was running to second, wasn't going to be coming around to third. This time you've got Nathans out on the 9-2.
Yeah, and Candless would have just loaded the bases.
Yeah.
Would have been loaded bases waiting for Chucky.
And Miranaka is done.
Yep.
Well, maybe he's not. Let's see.
He's gone. Connor Casey, first base umpire, has gone to the bullpen to get the pitcher.
He is done. There we go. Thought it may have just been Steve Mintz going out there and saying to Miranaka, well, you've given us 90-odd good pitches.
Yep.
Have you got enough left? I think you've got enough left for one last batter, but no. This might be now where the Tuatara start ringing the changes. Bear in mind they play half their games, or actually more than half their games, because they get some games out of the first half.
7 innings?
Yeah, double headers that are 7 innings as well. So they play, I think it's about 25 games as 7-inning games. They don't play a lot of 9-inning baseball. So it does mean that they're going to have some arms that, well, it works in two ways. They'll have some arms that are all a bit fresh.
Yeah, but haven't had work.
But they haven't had as much work. So which way does it work in these 9-inning games? And is this where it becomes an advantage for the home team?
What they tended to do last week, as an example in Sydney, was all of the pitches that came in relief pitched short. They 1 innings, 1 innings, 1 innings. There were games where I think we saw 5 and 6 pitches going to the mound.
Oh, that'll be just super.
the
amount of work that you've got to do in a scorebook when there's a pitching change.
Well, apart from that, calling a game that went for, I think, 4 1/4 hours for 9 innings. They were long games.
Well, that's a long night.
Certainly is.
Emerson Martinez comes in. He'll be taking over on the mound. And we've used up our 2 good stories for the night now.
We won't need that long.
No.
Martinez relieved in game 1 last weekend as well, so here he is relieving in game 1 tonight here in Canberra.
How'd he go last week?
He ended up going 2 innings. Sorry, no, he only had to go 4 outs. So he pitched for 4 outs and he got 4 up, 4 down.
Well, I know that he's played, I know that he pitched twice against Canberra earlier in the season. Let's see if we can find out anything else about him.
Once the manager comes out to the pitching mound, you know that pitcher's work is done for the night. Usually the pitching coach will go out first if they're just buying time. They didn't need to buy any time tonight. Miranaka had done his work. Bottom of 6 with 1 out.
So Emerson Martinez will come in. And Kyohei Miranaka, what's he get? 5.1 innings in the book, 6 hits. Will come back on his runs, but at the moment it's 1 earned run. 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And his pitch count pretty close to 100.
And again, go back to last weekend. The last 2 innings were pitched by Koji Takahashi. So we'll see if that pattern remains tonight. I suspect it will. Auckland coach Steve Mintz tends to stick to his patterns when they work.
I guess that's why they turn out as patterns. So 94 pitches all up. Anytime. Anytime you want to be thrown under the bus, Harrow, I'm more than happy to oblige. 94 pitches thrown by Miranaka, 53 of those for strikes, and it was 5 groundouts and 3 flyouts.
Chucky Robinson at the plate for the Cavs.
So Robinson, 0 for 2 tonight. Infield out, he drilled it straight at Blackstone. And then the fly out to centre field was tracked down by Brown. But he has the count his way here, 2-0. Martinez has a look over at the runner at second. Robinson has potentially grounded into a double play to end the inning here. He has. Well, that was a little bit anticlimactic for the home side after one walk, 2 hits, and an unnecessary out, you would imagine.
Wow.
The second 5-4-3 double play for the night.
And runner left stranded is Wilson. Left on base out there, so we end up with Perkins will start up in the bottom of the 7th when we come back for that shortly.
Yeah, Gallo. Oh, this is how we gonna do it.
Behind these doors, people are home. Resting, settling in, laughing. These are more than just hotel rooms. They are spaces for living. It's a home away from home, your own abode.
Plenty of people up and dancing in the stands here at MIT Ballpark.
What a great ballpark it is. Cut off at the legs. It's sensational. I described it earlier. If you haven't been to the ballpark and you are local to Canberra, you can get here in an hour or so. Take the trip tomorrow night, Saturday or Sunday, and get over here and have a look at this ballpark. If you love your baseball, then get here in person. Get your backside, trackside, as I say, and taken from the great Steve Raymond from Speedway calling way back in the day. But come down here and you've got a great seat. Every seat has a wonderful view, and the concession stands here also outstanding.
Talking about the wonderful view, it's probably got one of the more scenic backdrops as well.
Yes.
Not that you can see it right now as we see Hoover pitching to Josh McAdams. But the trees around this park, and then there's another line of trees further off, and then there's hills in the distance. Magnificent view here. 1-0. Hoover sees a foul ball into the air over near the dugout, chased across by Wilson, and he knew there were a lot of things going his way or getting in his way. He knew that the warning track was there. He knew that the dugout was there. Sort of threw the glove out at it, and it just bobbled its way over into the dugout and out of play. But in the end, no harm, one foul, one ball, one strike.
Very narrow concrete apron plus the steel fence, etc. And Tuatara players leaning on the fence didn't move either.
Well, they don't have to.
Nobody helped.
Yeah. You don't want to go over that fence into the dugout, by the way. It doesn't tickle. High ball from Hoover. 2-1 now the count.
Just a foul strike at the end of that. And could have well been an out with longer arms.
We'll see if it makes any difference in the end. Hoover starting to close in on the 100 pitch count as well. He is a horse. He can throw and throw and throw. But I suspect this will be the last inning for him, regardless of the outcome here. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that makes it a full count on Josh McAdams.
It does save, the deeper he can go, it does save the depth of the bullpen for the next 3 games.
Massively important when you're the leadoff man in the first game. This time he issues a walk. That's his first walk issued for the night.
Wow.
And I suspect that we won't see too much more of Hoover. We might get another batter, maybe even a second one. It's very hard to see the Cavalry bullpen from where we are.
Just cannot see it behind spectator area down there on the left side.
So what we have to look for is an occasional hand popping up over the screen, and I'm not seeing anything down there. That's not to say there isn't anyone there.
I've seen a ball going up very high in the air as the catcher throws it back in the bullpen.
And there's a
stolen base by McAdams.
Yep. Well, the Tuatara, they've got the 1-run lead. It's a low-scoring game, and taking the risk of trying to steal a base there on the arm of Robbie Perkins. Got a good
jump on that, McAdams, and you know that Steve Mintz is going to try and build some insurance right now. He's going to try and create some runs and get that little bit of insurance, because he knows the Cavalry will threaten at the back end of the game.
So 2-1. Sorry, 2-1 the score. 1-0 the pitch count. Make that 2-0 the pitch count. Just wondering if it's been called time and game in Brisbane yet. They'd be closing in on curfew time up there.
They do have that hurdle as well. 8-3, bottom of the 6th inning, no change in score. Looks like play has not resumed.
Hoover to Bishop. And Hoover goes for the fastball. Again, slightly astray, 3-0. So things just leaning ever so slightly more the Tuatara's way. A walk here, and I suspect that we'll start to see a bit of more frantic action from the Canberra Cavalry.
One thing, Chris, it is still only 8:30 in Brisbane.
That's true.
So they've got an hour and a half before curfew, which I think is 10 p.m.
Hoover goes back to the breaking stuff, and it works quite nicely for him. 3-1 as he pulls one strike back. Does he go to the well again? I think he did.
He certainly did. Nicely located on the inside too. Fastball, bottom half of the zone.
So he's got a full count. A crucial pitch in the shape of the game here. Catcher sets up on the inside, and that's coming straight back to us, up to the top of the safety netting. Count remains full, 3-2.
Thank God for the back net. I wouldn't have caught it. Considering the conditions before the start of this game, the crowd is quite reasonable, and a Thursday night, so a work day tomorrow.
Did he go? Yes, he did.
Down on strikes, Bo Bishop.
And that is just the third strikeout for this evening from the Tuatara.
That's quite amazing, because all of those outs that Hoover and the Cavalry have got hasn't just been Hoover, it's been the field working for him.
And here we are, we're going into, we've one out in the 7th, and it's still only the third time through the batting lineup for each side.
That's a pretty good lesson for young pitchers that are coming through. You don't have to strike every batter out that you face.
Fly ball, right field, gloved by Nathans. Runner goes, McAdams. It's virtually the free pass over there to third.
We'll go back to the top of the order with Yoni Hernandez with 2 out here in the top of the 7th. Yeah, a bit of a discussion between Robbie Perkins and JJ Hoover now.
They're cooking something up here.
They're cooking up a manager visit as well, but don't be surprised at what moves Steve Mintz is likely to put on. He doesn't always follow the coaching manual.
Scott Hernandez is out there.
Infield in.
Everyone's come up onto the mound. So Keith Ward's gone out there. And yeah, this is the, you've got it in you. I know you've got it in you, JJ. You get one more.
Get one more, but be wary of what Steve Mintz is going to instruct the batter to do.
Well, let's see what he does here. Hoover's just ticked past the 100 pitch mark. 101 he's thrown tonight, 61 strikes. That's phenomenal accuracy.
Yes.
That is just... yeah.
Back to the action.
He's got Hernandez in. Hernandez has hit all three of them to centre field. Two got him out. One was a ground ball. Hoover stays low and inside. 1-0 is the count on Hernandez.
Any money on extras?
God, I hope not.
It is Thursday.
It's only Thursday, and I don't need that much excitement on a Thursday night as once again Hoover goes inside to the left-handed Yoni Hernandez. 2-0 is the count. Two balls, no strikes. Two out, one runner at third. 2 runs to 1 is the lead. And again, Hoover goes inside and gets to the 3-0 count. All right, so Hernandez will get the chance here. Geez, what do you do here? Do you give him the chance to swing away? Do you say no? You take this pitch regardless. If you get the walk, your runners on the corners. What do you do?
He must take.
3-0, takes it, gets the walk.
4 straight balls.
And now the question many Cavalry fans will ask is,
done.
Have they left JJ Hoover on for 1 inning too many?
Maybe, but he's done now.
Well, Keith Ward's coming out, so this will be a pitching change. So with a pitching change coming up, we might squeeze in a quick break here at MIT Ballpark. We'll give you the details on who's coming in just a moment, but right now it is Auckland 2, Canberra 1.
This is how we gonna do it.
If you're about to make university decisions, make sure you stand out from the crowd. UC is ACT's #1 uni for graduate employment and starting salaries. UC has work placements in every degree. UC is designed specifically for Canberra and the region. Run your own race at the University of Canberra. Apply now, get UC qualified and run circles around the rest.
As we return to MIT Ballpark here on ABL TV and via NITV and our international broadcast partners, it's Cavalry Live. Thursday night baseball, and the Canberra Cavalry have finally rung the pitching change after JJ Hoover went just past 100 pitches for the night. Man on the mound warming up, you can see him there, is James Mulry. Mulry for the season. ERA of 4.82. Interesting because he replaces Hoover, who came into the game with an ERA of 4.81. Well, he's finished off 3 games, but he's only thrown 9.1 innings, so really, on some occasions, he's been a one-out specialist. 9.1 innings pitched, 6 hits given up, 5 runs, all of which were earned. Only 1 home run, though. Struck out 7. And he needs to strike out right about now with the runners on the corners for the Auckland Tuatara in the top of the 7th inning. High and outside, ball 1. Johnny Homza, by the way, the man in the batter's box. I'll give you a pitching line for Hoover shortly. 1-0. And Mulry gets the strike. 1-1 now the count there. So Hoover in the end threw 105 pitches for the night, 61 strikes. 4 groundouts, 10 flyouts. Back Back to Mulry. He gets behind in the count again, 2-1. So for Hoover, it was 6.2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. 2-1 the count. Make that 3-1 for Mulry now. Huge opportunity beckoning here for the Auckland Tuatara. They have a 1-run lead. And Johnny Homza, he's had 3 flyouts tonight. Has a real chance to change the complexion of this game dramatically. On the 3-1 pitch. Broken bat. Picked up off the ground by Melyan, sends it across to Wilson. The broken bat is very rarely the friend of a batter, and he hits the ball into the infield. Different story when it becomes a bloop over to the shallow outfield, but on this occasion it is an out. It completes the top half of the 7th, and Canberra Cavalry fans, they breathe a sigh of relief as they still trail by just the 1 run as we stretch here at MIT Ballpark. It's 2-1 to the Tuatara.
Come home to your Jarrah. For your kind of play, your kind of family, your kind of day, and your kind of neighbourhood. We introduce your kind of community for your kind of value. South Jarrah.
Hurry up with that thing.
Have you tried the grey cake?
Yeah, I've tried it all. Okay.
So who are you backing in this game?
With their 3-point shooting.
Guys, relax. I got this.
Don't want to miss a second of the action this season? With Tabs Basketball Live Vision, you can stream games and access exclusive previews for free, anytime, anywhere.
Whoa, don't splash the box.
Yeah, don't splash the box.
Who are you backing this NBA season? Tab. Download the app today.
Heading into the bottom of the 7th, and you start to get the feeling that it's all or nothing time for the Canberra Cavalry against the Auckland Tuatara as the first pitch from Emerson Martinez to Robbie Perkins is thrown in at strike 1. Just the way this game's been so tight, Paul Harradine.
Yeah, they'll run out of time if they're not careful. Here's another high fly ball. Will it go deep enough? Will it get there? Does it clear the fence?
It doesn't clear the fence. It comes off the fence, though, and it gets stuck there at the bottom of the fence for just a moment. McAdams picks it up, but it's a stand-up double to Robbie Perkins. He's got a walk, a single, and a double. He's on for the cycle, but I reckon he might run out of time. He won't care if he can get home now, though, and tie the ball game up.
Yeah, well, the bottom of the 7th, it's time to score. It's a runner in scoring position with none out here. The lead-off batter stands there at second base, Robbie Perkins. He's got the rest of the team to back him up now. They've got to get the sticks to work. They've got to create this run and at least tie this ball game up right now. They don't have much time left. If they want to win it in 9, they've got to get the tying run in this dig. And here's the opportunity.
What's the line? They've got to wake up the bats.
Wake them up. That's right. Rattle them. Kyle Perkins will be followed by Kelvin Melian. And then we'll get back to the top of the order. They just need to work their way back to the top of the order.
Robbie Perkins at second. Kyle Perkins calls for and gets time. Maybe he had an insect buzzing around there the way he would just didn't look for another signal there, did he? Just sort of walked away.
I think that's all it was. Maybe a clarification.
Saw some massive mosquitoes here earlier tonight. Absolutely huge. Could carry off a small child between their feet.
You said you wanted a saddle to throw on the back of one.
Well, could have.
Ride it out of town.
Probably could have gone the 8 seconds, maybe not much more. 1-0 the count here on Kyle Perkins. He's had a single to 8 and a strikeout this evening. Robbie Perkins. I think Martinez fooled him there because there was nobody back in cover.
Hernandez was hiding in behind him, I know that.
It's almost where you, when you're out there as the runner on second base, you almost think, oh, well, I'll dare him to throw it. Who's he going to throw it to?
There's nobody else here.
You throwing at me?
And you get and you get caught in a rundown.
Oh, that happens. 2-0. Kyle Perkins.
Third base coach is way down the line.
Canberra Cavalry all-time home run leader. He's got 24 for his career, looking for number 25, but I don't think he's going to get there. It's caught in front of the scoreboard. Robbie Perkins advances from second to third quite comfortably. So Kyle Perkins effectively sacrificing himself.
And that was Max Brown, I think, took that in centre field, didn't he, Chris?
Brown came across from centre again.
Gee, they're hitting deep, but just a fraction too high.
That's this ballpark at night. I'll do it to you time and time again. There's very little breeze here tonight, but it's really, really humid, so the ball does hold. It does slow down a lot in the air.
This afternoon, the temperature was about 27 degrees, but the humidity just drove you down.
So in comes Kelvin Melian. Right now down to 18 degrees and just the lightest of south-southeasterly breezes. Officially, 4 millimetres of rain fell in that storm this afternoon.
Is that all?
Melian, foul ball, off behind him, off behind us.
It felt like inches of rain, and there was a little bit of hail in amongst it as well.
It amazes me that that's gone down as 4 millimetres of rain, because that's measured at the airport, which is only 5 k's away. But
yeah,
we were right on the edge of the band of it, and it came down in buckets and large quantities. And I know one of our crew here suffered damage to his house, and he hasn't been able to get home to check it all out yet. 1-1 the count. Ball in the dirt. Robbie Perkins thinks about running, but he doesn't. I had $3,500 damage done to my car here in a hailstorm once.
Ooh, ah.
Yeah, I said a bit more than that. The car was only 3 months old, too.
Oh, no.
2-1. Magnificent Rolf Subaru. Thanks to our great friends at Rolf Motors and Rolf Subaru. Long-time sponsors of the Cavs. Great car it is, too.
I think they've been there almost forever, haven't they?
Rolf have indeed. This will be an RBI for Kelvin Melian as he pops it out towards Kim in left field, and we're all tied up here in the bottom of the 7th. We said it before, Harrow. Bottom of the 7th with a 2-1 deficit. The Cavs needed to do something, and they've woken up the bats.
Hero Melian. He's got onto the pitching of Martinez and turned this game around. Now momentum picks up for the Cavalry. The Fortress will close ranks. Squares the scoreboard up at 2-2 when we go back to the top of the order with only one out. Great rip there.
You don't have to hit it out of the park. You've just got to hit it so that someone can't get to it before you get to first base. It's very simple, this game in the end. Broken bat, and I talked about broken bats being your friend when you get the ball into the outfield. And for Robbie Podolski, that bat didn't just break, it exploded into a million pieces.
It's behind the mound.
Yeah.
It's on the second base shortstop side of the pitcher's mound.
That's some of it. There's another piece on the mound. There's another piece on the ground. Here we go.
New set of toothpicks.
He's only picked up 2 pieces. There's about another 1,000 pieces out there. That's gone straight to the wrecker's yard.
As you said, Chris, that broken bat just took the pace off the ball and stopped it being caught in right field by McAdams. He was very much short of him, and we go back to Robbie Podolski. And he's due. He is overdue, the leadoff.
Oh, well, Podolski's on now.
Oh, sorry?
This is Cam Warner.
Podolski, yeah. It's happening too fast.
Here we go. It's all go. Yeah, Podolski exploded the bat. I can understand that. You were dazzled by the explosion. Cam Warner is in. He's had a single. Made it on base with an error. A dropped catch error from the first baseman.
Just because it was the
I didn't
opposite
feel
side
that.
of the field
Yeah.
for what Maliarm did.
Now one strike on Cam Warner. Warner drills it. Oh, look at that. Martinez reflexes, sends it across to Hernandez, and then across to Walker. So the 1-6-3 double play for Cam Warner. He is having one of the more unusual nights out.
Wow. I would not have thought that got him out. The reflexes of Martinez were the only thing that did it. Even he's played at second base. That was a real hard throw that was taken on the toes of Hernandez.
3 double plays tonight for the Tuatara to wrap up Canberra Cavalry innings. 5-4-3, a 5-4-3 and a 1-6-3. 7 innings in the books. It's all tied up. Are we going to get a winner in regulation? Are we going to go to extras? So many questions. They'll all be answered soon here on Cavalry Live.
G'day, mate. Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
This is Callum Murray.
Calamari to the seafood aisle.
Calamari. Why'd they name you that?
I take you.
Calamari. Let's make it Jack.
Drink it through with Dare Iced Coffee.
It's the festive holiday season. Make sure your car is ready to go the distance this summer. Give us a call to book in your pre-holiday safety inspection on 1300 727 320 at MIT Automotive in Fishwick.
We come back for the 8th inning here at MIT Ballpark, and Steve Kent is the man you see on the mound. So James Mulry once again comes in and is a one-out specialist. He gets the 1 out and has a whole row of zeros thereafter. No hits, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. Just a handful of pitches thrown.
And you're right, Chris. He did the job that was required of him and that the Cavs needed. Now they've squared the scoreline up. The back end of the game, top of the 8th, 2 complete innings to go. There's a bit of momentum heading Cavs' way. Let's hope it just stays that way and they keep rolling on.
Only through a grand total of 5 pitches. Nice work if you can get it. 5 pitches, 2 strikes, 1 out, which was a ground out. It was a 6-3 if you're curious. And it means now that Stephen Kent comes in. The Canberra Cavalry's gun pitcher for so many years. And I talked about this before. And I asked the question, Robbie Perkins, and I haven't actually given his career numbers. Oh, we sort of gave an overview of them, but if you were picking an all-time Cavalry team, this bloke could be in it, this pitcher, Steve Kent. But where would you put him?
You did kick that off sooner, and you were picking 22 names, I believe, something like that.
If we were picking a squad, where would you put Steve Kent, though? Would you put him in as a starter? Would you put him in as a closer? Would you put him in as a reliever? Where would you put this man? First pitch to Jared Walker is high and outside for ball 1.
It's a tough one. We know he can throw out the next 2 innings.
He could. And he's done that on a couple of occasions this season. Foul ball, 1-1.
Just a starting 9. Gee.
Yeah, would you put him in the
so tough.
Yeah, would you use Steve Kent as a starter? Would you use him as a reliever?
I would probably go with reliever.
Would you use him as the closer? He's done that as well. So he gets a very slow, soft swing. That's almost the Walker has decided I'm swinging. Oh, I really should have changed my mind. He's just half-hearted waft at it.
Now I think Kent, yes, a reliever, not a starter. In his younger career, yes, a starter.
289 regular season strikeouts for Stephen Kent. More than 300 for the Cavalry over the distance, including post-season games, high and inside. Actually, it wasn't as high as I thought it was. 2-2, though, the count. Here against Walker. just ramps up and goes like a machine. Popped up. It'll go to deepish third base. Kyle Perkins has it covered.
Sure does. Gets it right on the edge of the warning track there. Plenty of room to move. Kyle Perkins as relaxed as you like. Never took his eyes off it. Had the glove just at the right level and took it with nice soft hands.
We couldn't hear from up here, but I would suspect that Kelvin Millian, the shortstop who'd come over, was saying to him, you've got room, you're not going to hit the fence. Sometimes it's not about going in and calling for the ball. Sometimes it's about helping the guy who's going for the ball.
Yep, keep them tuned in. Let them know they're safe wherever they are.
Great team play. Oh, there goes a Japanese balloon. If you're wondering what the whistle is.
I went to Questacon today and saw a balloonatic.
Oh, what?
It's the latest show they've got there.
Okay, Kim Won-Seok is the man who's batting, by the way. He's 0 for 3 so far tonight. He's not alone in being hitless, by the way. There's quite a few of them in this match at the moment. Did you get a souvenir from said balloonatic as Kim takes the next pitch? And it's strike 2. Kent now got his groove well and truly going. Do they still have the earthquake machine there at Questacon?
Yes, they do.
Did you go on it?
No, we were only there for a short time with our little granddaughter.
Yeah, don't put little kids on the earthquake machine. Foul ball. Count remains 0-2. And the other one that I love is the massive Van de Graaff generator with the big electric sparks. That makes some noise.
Yeah, we didn't take her anywhere near that either. We stayed downstairs in the kids' area.
Yeah, don't let the little kids near anything involving electricity. They might get ideas. 0-2 becomes 1-2 as Kent goes away and low. 2-2. Who's going to be the game breaker? That's what we're looking for now. We're into the 8th. Here goes another one of those Japanese balloons, if you can hear that whistle in the background. Kent looking for the bottom outside corner of the strike zone. Doesn't miss by much, but the count goes to 2-2.
Had a same fate as the Hindenburg, that one.
Oh, the humanity. Kim takes the next pitch high and inside. Kent looking for the breaking ball, I think, didn't break. So it's a full count here, 1 out, none on. Kent would like to get through Kim and Blackstone here and save off an encounter with Mark until the next inning, and he may just get his wish here. Good call from Warner. Calls off Millian, says, no, I've got it covered, and the pop fly to 4 means 2 up, 2 down. And it's been a pop fly to 5 and a pop fly to 4. Stand by at first base, Zach Wilson. They're working numerically towards you.
Coming right side.
It'll be Blackstone.
And he will pull the ball, Blackstone.
He's had a fly to 9, fly to right field. Drilled it straight at Cam Warner. And a pop fly to the shortstop in Millian as well.
We don't care what sort of out it is, Stephen. Kent just get an out.
This is fabulous. I've got Harrow cheering for the Cavs in the commentary box with me. It's fantastic. 0-1. Make that 0-2. There are times when this man just gets unplayable.
Absolutely.
You can't hit that. You cannot hit that. Absolutely on fire tonight. Ground hit. Oh, you. What's your next trick? What is your next trick? Go and join the circus. That is ridiculous. Oh, Stephen Kent, you're having a laugh, and the rest of us are just here to watch the show.
We saw it. You saw it on screen. Wow. Behind your back, catch the ball in the glove, throw it to first, get the out. As casual as you like, it's like he practices that every day. His reaction was fantastic taking the catch, but the spin around, turn and throw to first was even better. It's as if, yeah, okay, that's what I was expecting.
Yeah, he meant it all the way into the glove.
Was it a pirouette? Maybe he's into dancing.
Dancing all the way to the bank. 2-2. Middle of the 8th here in Canberra.
Yellow. Oh, this is how we gonna do it. Aight.
Come home to your Jarrah. For your kind of play, your kind of family, your kind of day, and your kind of neighbourhood. We introduce your kind of community for your kind of value. South Jarrah-Bombra.
Well, we're still shaking our heads at what Steve Kent did to wrap up the top half of the 8th there. It'll go down in the books as a 1-3, but it'll be remembered for a lot more than that. Tucker Nathan's no mucking around here. Takes the first pitch he sees from Emerson Martinez, drills it to Blackstone, who throws it to Walker. The 4-3 out is registered. 1 down, bottom of the 8th, tied ball game. Cavs have 5 outs left to, well, potentially, if they could do it in this inning, they may not have to worry about it anymore, but they've got 5 outs left at the moment, Paul Harradine.
Yeah, 2-2. They do need to get that go-ahead run, though. That would be exactly what the Cavs need, then shut everything down as far as Auckland goes. And, of course, Cavs have got more outs than Auckland. Auckland only have 3 more outs opportunity.
Well, here's a man for whom this script may just have been written.
Well, we're right in the middle of the order for Canberra. That's the important thing here. The right part of the lineup to score those runs. When we go back to Auckland in the top of the 9th inning, they're in the bottom half of their inning.
Yeah, mind you, they've got Mark to lead off. So he's a man who I'm going to get in touch with the Australian Border Force to see if we can have him arrested for stealing bases, stealing runs, because he gets out there so many times, gets on base so many times. But right now it's Zach Wilson, a man who's hit so many home runs at this ballpark in just a season and a half. He's chasing Cole Perkins for the all-time Canberra Cavalry home run crown. Don't know if he'll get there this year, but certainly the chase is on. 2-1 is the count for him. And a foul ball takes it to 2-2. He has 18 home runs in 67 games for the Canberra Cavalry. Or putting it another way, 18 home runs in 252 at-bats.
He only needs a single one right here, right now, for the go-ahead run.
And he takes the pitch and gets struck out.
I shouldn't say anything.
Oh, well, it happens. What's he got? He's 2 for 4 tonight. He's done his job.
2 up, 2 down. Brings the Candyman to the plate.
And is that the first batter called out on strikes tonight?
Yeah, I believe so. Across the whole game.
Across the whole game. Second out, bottom of the 8th. The first one called out on strikes. Every other one of them's been a swinging strikeout.
Yep, yep.
So you come to the ballpark, you never know what you're going to see. And that's that. Now you've got David Candelas. He's got a single and a double. His other excursion out there resulted in an infield out, and he is 1-0 in the count. Speaking of men who've scored home runs galore for this club.
Fingers crossed.
Here's another one who's in the thick of that title race. By my reckoning, he scored 20 home runs for this club of the 27 he scored in the ABL.
Wow.
Had that season in 2017 where he just went berserk, scored 12 of them, and this will not be one of them, but it might fall into the gap, no, because Kim's got the wheels and gets around underneath it. And that was precisely what the doctor ordered for the Auckland Tuatara. They kept Emerson Martinez out there. They rolled the dice and gave him into a 3rd inning of pitching, knowing that there may well be extras coming up. Auckland will look to break the game open in the top of the 9th. Canberra will be looking to win it in the top of the 9th. If the Cavs are going to win it, it's going to be a walk-off however it happens. Exciting times on the way here at MIT Ballpark.
Behind these doors, people are home. Resting. Settling in. Laughing. These are more than just hotel rooms. They are spaces for living. It's a home away from home, your own abode.
Well, it's all go, go, go here. That's there's some avian wildlife paying a visit to the ballpark now, flying around. Do you reckon that's a plover up there or a seagull? I think it's a seagull. Don't know. We've got something flying around up there at floodlight level. If Anthony Overs was on the call with me tonight, he'd identify it like that. He's very much an avian expert ornithologist. And good evening to you, Anthony.
If it's a seagull, it's following me. Why would it be here?
Oh, we get a few. They get confused by Lake Burley Griffin. But right now we have a game on our hands. This has been a cracking game of baseball. You don't need 10 runs to 8 for it to be a cracking game of baseball. I love a pitching duel, and I love it even more when you get into the bullpen and you start seeing the relievers come in and they just pick up where their predecessors have left off.
And even though we've seen quite a few strikeouts, the game hasn't been about strikeouts either. The pitching duel has been putting the ball into play. And the field doing the work.
Andrew Mark.
Danger man.
Absolutely. Tied ball game. Top of the 9th, he's leading off. You'd almost think Steve Mintz had found a way to engineer it that way. He has a 1-1 count.
Nice pitch. Missed the zone though.
Two and 1. Foul ball takes it to 2-2.
Steve Kent still dealing for the Cavalry.
Just keeps on going and going and going. The foul ball, that's gone a long way, but it still goes down in the books as a foul. Count remains 2-2. We talked before about extending the at-bat and tiring of the pitches, and with many relievers, that's going to make a difference. With Steve Kent, it's not. He's a guy who can go out there, he can throw 70 pitches.
Yes.
But,
there's an out.
Oh, Cam Warner just has to reach forward. That really came right off the very end of the bat there, I reckon, for Andrew Mark. Nowhere near the sweet spot. Absolutely nowhere near it. Warner had to hustle, but he got there. The catch is taken. One down for the Tuatara in the top of the 9th in this tied ball game. Story of the night, if you haven't been with us, has been that the Cavalry have had a lot of hits, but they really haven't converted them. They've had 11 hits for just 2 runs. The Tuatara have had 6 hits for their 2 runs. And now it is Josh McAdams, a man who has had a hit and one of just 2 walks for his side this evening, but Kent has him 0-1. Make that 0-2 on the foul ball. There are people who say Steve Kent was very unlucky not to play in the majors, and I tend to agree.
Must have been on the edge so many times, just on the edge.
Got up to triple-A ball. I know Paul Gonzalez up there in Brisbane had him pegged a couple of years ago as being, one of the likely to make it to the next step, but it never panned out for him. He just got that close.
And of course, what's got to happen with it, whichever organisation you're with, there has to be a gap appear for you to get elevated, and he's just had those the regular players there in front of him.
1-2 the count as Josh McAdams just taking time to compose himself after Kent was high and inside there. So this is Steve Kent pitching to Robbie Perkins. Given the nasty injury suffered by Alan D. San Miguel last week, 1-2, make that 2-2.
That was horrific.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the circumstances of it, other than to say we don't need to see that kind of thing in baseball at any time.
I understand that pitcher has been suspended for something like 12 weeks.
Okay, I hadn't heard the official ruling, as it's a full count now for Steve Kent, but that means that Robbie Perkins probably now for the Olympic qualifier coming up.
Yep.
Robbie probably, I don't know how long Desan will be out for. 3 and 2. Make that a strikeout. He just punches another ticket back to the dugout to Steve Kent for Josh McAdams. So we'll see this combination, Kent pitching to Perkins, you would imagine, in that Olympic qualifier. Because, and Alan, if you're watching, thoughts are with you, mate, and a tough time for you.
Absolutely.
And it was, yeah, I don't want to go into it too much, but I believe broken.
Oh, lots.
Yeah.
You know, the shots afterwards when he was in the dugout, just frightening.
And, you know, that messes up your diet because you can't eat proper food for a while. No, this one's saying as a pro athlete, you can't eat food for a while. Yeah, liquids for a while. So
there's strength, body wasting.
Strength. And you can't eat, and I don't know if you've ever tried to exercise with broken bones. It's no fun. 0-1 as we see Bo Bishop in the batter's box. Make that 1-1. So, Alan, our thoughts are with you. And hope that your recovery is speedy. And I hope that you do get back in time for that Olympic qualifying tournament, which is only weeks away. Foul ball flies off into Snake Gully. That kid's very optimistic if he reckons he's getting it. No, he's given up. He's realised it's well and truly out of here. 1-2 the count.
I'll just quickly recap those scores around the grounds from other games. Perth defeated Geelong 4-0 in the earlier game this evening. And Melbourne have defeated the Adelaide Giants by 5 runs to 2.
Fly ball to right field. Underneath it is Nathan's in foul territory. He slides as he gets to the warning track and allows the ball to just go foul, extending the at-bat.
And then the Sydney-Brisbane game in Brisbane. Brisbane leading 8-3, but play suspended in the bottom of the 6th inning due to rain.
So the Cavalry potentially one pitch away from coming in to try and get a walk-off. Tuatara. Oh, we see the next pitch from Kent high and outside, so takes the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Equation doesn't really change. Tuatara hanging on and, well, could potentially win it. Or go ahead anyway on this pitch. Bishop, foul ball again. And again, it's off into Snake Gully. And again, the small child in the white T-shirt goes running off, hopefully to chase the ball down, but it goes well past the safety fence that's there for very good reason.
A souvenir hunter.
2-2 remains the count. Tuatara Bishop. High and inside. Full count. Crowd's gone very quiet, Harrow.
They certainly have. I was going to mention it earlier. They hang off every pitch. 2-2 ball game.
And the strikeout. 2 in a row. And that means we go to the bottom of the 9th.
That will do the Tuatara for the top of the 9th, and it's all in the hands of the Cavs now. Can they manufacture a run? I mentioned earlier that we come back to the Canberra Cavalry. Chucky Robinson will be leading off and Robbie Perkins. So Robinson's due and Perkins hit a double in his last time at bat. So let's see if we can manufacture that winning run here in the bottom of 9.
Plenty still to come here. Thursday night baseball. It has been a cracker so far to open week 9 in the Australian Baseball League. You are watching Cavalry Live.
G'day, mate.
Mr. Murray, have you decided on a name?
We're thinking Callum.
This is Callum Murray.
Calamari to the seafood aisle.
Calamari. Why'd they name you that?
I take you.
Calamari. Let's make a jack.
Drink it through with Dare iced coffee.
Bottom of the 9th coming up here in a tied ball game at MIT Ballpark. And really, with it being first versus second in the Australian Baseball League Northeastern Division, you wouldn't expect anything less than 2 heavyweights striding out to the middle of the ring and trading blows right through to the end. And that's what you've got. It has been a cracker so far here in Canberra, and another pitching change. Well, when I say another, just the second pitching change for the Auckland Tuatara. Replacing Emerson Martinez is Elliot Johnston. So that adds yet another variable into it. And yet again, it is Chucky Robinson, the batter due up for the change in pitcher. So I wonder if that's deliberate. I wonder if that's something in Steve Mintz's playbook, that he doesn't want to give Robinson the chance to get to know the pitchers. I wonder if he's done some research and come up with that, or whether it's just been a coinky-dink. Elliot Johnston comes in with a 3-0 win-loss record from 9 games. He's finished off 2 games. He's also got 1 save and 1 hold. 20 innings pitched so far this season. And here's a massive number for you, Harrow. 20.1 innings pitched for Johnston, 22 strikeouts. More than handy for a guy coming in to pitch the 9th.
I saw him in relief last week. He got 1 strikeout and 2 fly balls for his 3 up, 3 down.
I'll get you a quick line for Martinez in a moment. But he starts off with a strike against Chucky Robinson.
Yeah, fastball inside. Crowd goes very quiet again.
They're saving it up now. They know that if the Cavalry are to win this one, they've got to win it in a walk-off. Whether that's now or in extra innings. Or will the Tuatara pull a rabbit out of a hat, or a prehistoric lizard out of the cap? 1-1 the count on Robinson. He takes the next pitch. It's low and away. 1-2. Or sorry, 2-1. Martinez 2.2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run. Walked nobody, struck out 1. 24 pitches, 15 strikes, 3 groundouts and 2 flyouts. Robinson takes the next pitch high and inside. If he gets on base here, game called in Brisbane. We're getting words from from the Fat Controller, an unofficial source.
He is an unofficial source.
He won't muck us around.
But he's all over it.
3-1. If Robinson gets on here, it changes everything, doesn't it? And he will get on as he gets a walk.
Nice work, Chucky.
And that is the loudest applause we've heard for a walk for quite some time here at MIT Ballpark.
I'm amazed at how quiet the crowd have gone between pitches.
Well, they know this means everything. There is still the possibility for Canberra to fall out of the finals.
For sure. They're locked in with Brisbane. Brisbane look like they're going to be given the win there because they've played 6 innings.
The win-loss record in the Southwestern Division mean that they're going to get the wild card spot. So you've got to finish top 2. Bunt there from Robbie Perkins. Sacrifice bunt enables Chucky Robinson to get over to second. Well, that's what you've got to do. Cavalry may as well treat this just like extra innings right now.
Yeah, exactly. They've got to do it. They have to manufacture the winning. This is the winning run at second base.
Robinson is there. Kyle Perkins comes in. Now, Kyle Perkins, what does he do? Does he bunt? Does he bunt up the first baseline? Does he go for the big hit? Does he try and just drop it into space? A decent hit into space and Robinson's home.
I think that's the players, is let him hit. And who have we got pitching? We've got Johnston pitching.
Well, I don't know if it'll be Johnston for much longer. Mintz is out there. Well, I think this isn't a meeting for the pitcher. This is a meeting for the team. This is right. Here's what we've got to do here, boys. We've got to shut this down.
Yeah. A defensive meeting.
But again, you're the Tuatara. At this point, what do? Do you try and get the lead runner if the ball's hit up the middle? Or do you try and get the out at home? Do you let the lead runner get to second, get from second to third? What do you do?
Let's see how he positions the infield. Infielder in. Corners are in at least. Well, they haven't settled yet. They haven't settled.
Walker's a long way off the bag there.
Yeah.
I don't think they're worried. They don't care about Kyle Perkins. Oh, they've intentionally walked Kyle Perkins.
They certainly have.
Okay, that changes everything. Okay. They've intentionally walked Kyle Perkins. That brings the double play back in. Smart play from Mintz. Kelvin Melian takes the first pitch. It's a high one for ball one.
And for those that aren't aware of it, the coach can call for that walk to be given.
So that means that Kyle Perkins gets the free pass to first base. Chucky Robinson remains at second. It means now that if Melian hits the ball up the third baseline, there's an out straight away forced at third and most likely a double play. Melian takes the next pitch. It goes free. It runs away from the catcher. Bishop picks it up in front of the netting, but the Cavalry, well, they've got themselves out of that little bit of pressure manufactured by the Tuatara, courtesy of, I think we will call that a wild pitch. And Chucky Robinson advances to third. Kyle Perkins advances to second. No offence, Kyle, but you don't matter terribly much in the grand scheme of things here. You're the support act. What was the quote about being the vice president? It's worth a bucket of warm spit, I think was the line.
Chucky Robinson's the man of the moment. He's there.
Being the man who is out there at second base with the winning run at third, potentially the winning run at third. Being at second base, you are the support act.
And if Bo Bishop gets his choice in the scorebook, yes, it will be a wild pitch.
I reckon it was. It's probably in there now. Let's see what it comes up as.
Intentional walk issued.
Well, you've gone to the well once, you may as well go again. Means there's now a double play, or at least there's an automatic out at home. Forget about the out at first. They're now playing for the out at home. The infield will come in here. They won't even be worried about first base. So for Podolski, a chance to, in his first game as a cavalryman at home, to write himself into the history books, to write himself down as a Canberra Cavalry hero. What's he got? Robinson, 90 feet away, the winning run at home. Podolski takes the first pitch. It's high and inside. 1-0.
Johnson has to throw to him.
He's got to throw strikes. He's got to throw strikes.
What a finish.
A hush falls over MIT ballpark. The 1-0 pitch coming from Johnston to Podolski. Podolski takes his time, gets himself set back. Here it comes, Johnston with the wind-up. Podolski takes the next one, low and away, turns around, points to Robinson and says, hold, hold, 2-0.
Nobody's left the ground, that's for sure.
No. Bases loaded. Effectively, doesn't matter other than that means there's a force out at every cushion. It's a slow roller. It's get off to the ground. It's picked up by Hernandez. It does not matter. Cavs win. Cavs win in the bottom of the ninth. Robbie Podolski gets the RBI.
Oh, yeah.
Well, mate, you said you came all the way from Sydney to call this one and you wanted to see a Cavalry win. Paul Harradine, you got your wish. What a game we've had tonight.
I did. Sensational. Robinson, the man of the moment. The lead off getting a walk, drawing a walk, a good at-bat for Chucky Robinson and forcing the Tuatara's hand. 2 intentional walks and then the ball put into play by Podolski. And he was due, and they couldn't turn a double play. They could only go for the out of, but they needed the double play, the Tuatara. They're done, and the Cavalry get that win in the first game of the series. It looks like Brisbane will get the win in Brisbane in the first game of the series. 2 teams level on the standings, but Cavalry ahead on the head-to-head results between Brisbane and Canberra. What
7 games left, mate. 7 games left, and it's all to play for on the northeast side. And let's not forget what did the Tuatara come in with? The Tuatara came in with 19 wins. The Cavalry had 14.5.
Yep.
If the Cavalry the Cavalry moved to 15.5 now. That's only 3.5 games. Get another couple of wins here.
Lock it away.
Top spot.
Yeah.
Is not out of the equation. Sorry to all our great friends in New Zealand, but there's an awful lot to play for. And this Cavalry side, they've crafted more fairy tales, I think it's safe to say, than any other team in the Australian Baseball League over the first 10 years.
Absolutely. This is the business end of the ABL season with 7 games left. 3 this weekend, 4 next weekend, and they're all tough games. But we'll see what transpires tomorrow night. because we'll come back for more action. I've got no fingernails left already. There's 3 more games in the series.
It is going to be a cracker. Tomorrow night on Cavalry Live, I'll be joined by Warwick Petherbridge in commentary. But Paul Harradine, mate, thank you very much for being a part of it. It's been far too long since we've had you on deck here in Canberra. Let's hope it's not another, I think it's about 7 years. Let's hope it's not that long again.
I feel so good being back in the fortress, as I said at the start of the day.
Terrific stuff. Paul Harradine's been alongside me. Big thank you to our cast of thousands behind the scenes. It's getting bigger and bigger. I normally thank you all by name. I'll do that later because there's too many of you. Thank you very much to the whole gang behind the scenes tonight. But on a magnificent night when baseball finally returned after an eternity to MIT Ballpark, the Canberra Cavalry have held on to second spot in the Northeast Division of the Australian Baseball League by defeating the ladder-leading Auckland Tuatara by 3 runs to 2. This is Chris Coleman signing off from Cavalry Live. We'll see you tomorrow.